Well, good morning to you all watching out there. Welcome to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of hours. We'll talk about some of the biggest stories happening right now around you. If you're not from the Atlanta area, but you're just joining us, thank you. I appreciate having you guys here. We're going to start some things off with some breaking news. There's a former Olympian that we know of. His name is Jeff Galloway. He is in the hospital as we speak. Family and friends now tell us that he's actually in the ICU. He had to go through an emergency neurosurgery. That all has been posted to a social media account, according to his family members. And over the last couple of decades, we know there have been millions of runners and walkers who have been out there in his honor. They've read his books, attended his running school, and his training process. They love the way that he has trained. Family members are asking for any fans, any runners, to send a video message of support to Jeff Galloway. That's at www.tribute.co/Jeff Galloway. We'll put that link on our website for you as soon as possible, so you'll be able to join in. But I just wanted to make sure I got you the latest on that former Olympian who is now in the hospital. And while we're talking about running, there's actually a 5K underway right now as we speak, and this is in honor of someone, a name that you probably recognize, Laken Riley. We know that just a few years ago, she was running on the campus of UGA when authorities say that an immigrant, someone who came to our country, they say illegally, attacked her and killed her. And so again, her family, her friends, community members are getting out there right now for a good old run and walk. We sent our Kim Luffler, who's there live. Kim, I understand that they kind of recently hit running on the pavement. Talk to us about what this is all about and what they're hoping to do with this run and walk today.
Yeah, absolutely, Judea. Good morning to you. So that run kicked off at 8 o'clock, and actually just some of the last runners are crossing the finish line right now. You can see some folks kind of gathering here behind me, and the finish line is right there over to my left. As you mentioned, this is all in honor of Laken Riley. Tomorrow marks the 2-year anniversary of her death. She was running on a path near Lake Herrick here on the UGA campus when her killer, Jose Ibarra, attacked her and killed her. His trial happened about 9 months later as well, and he was convicted on all charges against him, including malice murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. But we have been speaking with a lot of people who have came out here today. We're told 588 people signed up for this 5K this morning, and a lot of them have a lot of different reasons for wanting to come out here. But the biggest one is to make sure Laken's memory is never forgotten. Take a listen to the organizer and also a runner that we spoke with this morning.
I don't want anyone to ever forget who Laken Riley is. Athens is a special place to me. I grew up coming here, and now that this has happened, I have had many students reach out to me, women too, that are friends of mine, and we all do not go on that trail anymore. We don't feel comfortable running in general, and now I would like for us to basically remember her and know what she went through.
Just as a young girl, I was assaulted by a stranger, and I was able to get away. And what breaks my heart is this kind of thing even happens, this horrible tragedy, but Laken should be here. And I just want to do what I can to support and honor her. My son was a student here at the time.
Yeah, in Judea, we know that there's also going to be a memorial following this run that's going to be starting here in a little under an hour at 10 o'clock. We know that Laken's family will be here and they'll be speaking, as well as Mike Collins. And Mike Collins is the U.S. representative who introduced the Laken Riley Act, so not long after Laken was killed, that is requiring the arrest of illegal immigrants who commit violent crimes. And that was signed into law by President Trump in January of 2025, and Laken's family was with the president when he did sign that act into law as well. So that'll be happening here in about an hour.
Kim, thank you for giving us this rundown of what's happening out there on the run. I'm just letting you know we're joined by Alex Forbes, our meteorologist, who will be talking to us about the weather out there, because a lot of people did get out there to get running, and we know it'll still continue on. Later on, though, I want to pick your brain, because I know you were one of the main reporters when we first learned Laken Riley's name, but then, of course, also covering that trial for Jose Ibarra. So later on, again, I want to ask you a couple of questions about your coverage, and you guys, you can look forward to that coming up in about about, I'll say 30 minutes or so. So Kim, thank you so much. All right, you guys, and I did mention that we are going to keep things moving.
Yep.
I brought up our meteorologist, Alex Forbes, to the desk. Alex, when I woke up this morning, and I heard that little pitter-patter on my window.
Little. It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, I was being a little generous there. But I honestly thought that maybe I had left on like ASMR or like, you know, my YouTube and just like letting the rain come down. No, it was outside here in Atlanta.
It was coming down, and I tell you what, when I heard the thunder, I was like, man, it's been a while since I heard thunder.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've seen showers and storms here through the morning hours, and in fact, I'm going to do this real quick. That's the last 3 hours. Let me turn on the last 6, and you can see that's that wave earlier this morning, and then we've got another wave on our doorstep right now. So you've got really Metro Atlanta picking up on some rainfall. Let's stop this now and go back to here just the last 30 minutes or so. Really the north side of the metro picking up on this rainfall right now from Gwinnett County through, say, parts of Barrow County and Jackson County, southern Cobb in the mix here. And then as we look back into Alabama, this is where your stronger activity is going to be. There's Alex City, Dadeville, Lake Martin. This is rolling in the general vicinity of Harris and Troup counties here in the next little bit. And if I flip this over to the Birmingham radar, what you're going to see is there's a sharp line between no rain and heavy rain. And whenever you get something like that, what we're looking at near really south of Cooper there in Alabama, that's when you're looking at some strong winds. These aren't severe just yet, but it would not surprise me at all if what you see here south of Talladega, north of Montgomery goes severe before it crosses into Georgia. Not saying it's guaranteed, but it is something I'm watching for here over the next little bit. So today we do have a level 1 threat, and you see that's down to the south. It does technically include Upson County, Jones and Baldwin counties, as well as Monroe County, but I'm not overly concerned about it. I think most of what we see today is going to be down into, say, central and southern Georgia, Tift County, Turner County, over towards Lowndes County and Valdosta. That extends back over into southern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and southern Mississippi. And on the flip side, over into Charleston on the eastern coast, down to Savannah, Brunswick, and stops just shy of Jacksonville. But that's the lay of the land right now. I tell you what, let's also see how much rain we've seen in the last 24 hours, because there are some people in and around Metro Atlanta. You see that green swath there. Mm-hmm. That's over a ½ inch of rain. When you get into that deep green, that's over an inch. It's like the rain was driving down I-20. Look at that. And then
my goodness.
The yellow, so there are a couple pockets of yellow right there.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
It's like right by the Welcome Center. You're looking at over 2 inches of rain in those spots. So if you're watching this morning from Thomas Road in Haralson County, congrats on your 2 inches of rain. Can you spread the wealth next time? Because we all need the rain. Speaking of which, let me see if I've got, maybe it's in here, my drought monitor. I do. So this was updated, of course, on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And you see the severe drought expanded. The extreme drought is in roughly the same spots. It didn't really grow, but the severe drought really expanded into Metro Atlanta. So we're going to have the opportunity for rain here over the next couple of days. We're going to take a look at that coming up here in a little bit. We're also going to talk about a big time, and I mean big time, cold snap. You ready for this? We broke a record yesterday at 80 degrees.
Yeah. And
our wind chills tomorrow morning are going to be in the mid-20s, and on Monday morning they are going to be in the single digits.
Alex, why are you lying to me?
I'm not.
I don't like this at all. Okay, wait. Run that by me again. We just hit 80 as a record.
On Friday afternoon, a high temperature of 80.
Tomorrow, in the 20s for a wind chill, and then you said single digits?
Single digit wind chills Monday morning.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's just absolutely ridiculous. But if I'm dumbfounded. I literally don't even know what to say next. I guess I will get ready for that when it happens.
Yeah.
So it made no sense to try to get rid of my heat.
Yep.
Anyway, it made no sense to try to get rid of the heat while it
Turn
heated
off
up.
the heat, yeah.
Yes, you understand what I was saying. Thank you. Because it's going to get cool again. I have still been wearing my winter coat every day because you never know.
Right.
You never know.
Well, I do know about tomorrow. Although I think we know a decent amount of the time.
You know a decent amount of the time, and then we have to ask you, and then you
Right.
tell the rest of us.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you for kind of bursting my bubble a little bit here. I've been rocking on this warm weather, but
We're going to take a closer look at all of that coming up here in the next hour.
okay, cool. See you when you come back. You guys, let's keep some things going with some of our top news of the day. Have you been hearing about that Sandy Springs toddler who was killed by gunfire? But they do say it was accidental. You're taking a look there at that baby's father. Because they say that this man, he was denied bond recently, again, all in conjunction with that toddler's name, Baby River, who was killed in Sandy Springs. So what we know about this situation is that 2-year-old obtained access somehow to a gun in the apartment that 2-year-old lived in. It was a loaded handgun that was left inside of a fanny pack. And while maybe checking it out, playing around with it, you never know, kids, they play with water guns and stuff all the time, toy guns. And so somehow, some way, that firearm, while the little boy had access to it, went off and unfortunately hit and killed him. Now, his father, Richard Willis, allegedly left his son alone and sent his son into the room where that gun was. He says that he knew that that gun was there. This is all according to authorities. And so he's facing murder and cruelty to children charges. Now, not only does he remain in custody without bond, but we just recently heard that that bond, like I said, without it, he was denied bond. This was during an initial hearing. So I'll be telling you a little bit more about this situation and why the father's facing charges, even though they're suggesting that this was an accident, as this hour continues. But in the meantime, one story that I know everybody has been paying attention to is the search for Nancy Guthrie. We have officially entered week 3 in the search for her. She disappeared not too long ago, and you know her daughter very well, Savannah Guthrie from the Today Show. Well, I want to check in with our Rebecca Castor, who's live from Tucson, Arizona, where we know Nancy lived. Rebecca, talk to me about where we are in terms of the search today. I heard that the FBI is getting involved with some other agencies, some other departments, maybe some local stores, hoping to find some answers. Is that true?
Yes, Judea, good morning. One of the things we know that the FBI is following up on is they are going to local gun shops and they are speaking with business owners and trying to possibly track down this masked man that, you know, at this point has honestly gone viral. We've seen that door camera video time and time again. Everybody has honestly been analyzing it over the last week or so, and that is still the big question. Who could that man be in the video? So he has a specific looking gun holster in the door camera video, and that is just one of the leads that investigators are still trying to follow up on. A lot of this stuff is happening behind the scenes, and honestly at this point, the newsworthy updates that we are getting from the sheriff's office, it's been a few days since we've really had a significant update, and that doesn't mean that the investigation is not going forward. Nobody wants this case to go cold. So in addition to visiting some of those local gun shops, we know that they're also still working with Walmart, because also in the video he's wearing a Walmart specific backpack. It's a backpack you can only purchase at Walmart. So they're trying to look at, you know, customer data and see who could possibly have purchased this backpack and try to identify the suspect from there. And then of course the biggest thing that they're looking at is the DNA evidence that was found inside the home. Forensic scientists are still analyzing this every day, and hopefully they're getting closer to narrowing it down to a suspect.
We sure do hope that they get some answers pretty soon. A lot of eyes are on this case. And actually, that leads me into my next question for you. So many of us are trying to figure out what in the world happened to Nancy Guthrie. I've seen some TikTokers even jumping in saying that they want to start maybe trying to help out with the search. Talk to me about what the community is doing in terms of supporting the family, but maybe even supporting law enforcement officers as they're trying to figure out who took Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, so there's a difference between, spewing conspiracy theories
Yes.
online and actually having credible information. And that is what officials are still asking for. At this point, they want people to kind of change their mindset, especially those that are in the local community. Instead of thinking about what you have seen, they're asking folks to really start thinking critically about who they maybe haven't seen over the last 20 days. Is there somebody in their orbit that has kind of gone MIA over the last 3 weeks? And those are some tips that they do want to hear from people about. We know neighbors are also really actively involved in this investigation. Many of them are still combing through security camera footage. They are submitting that to law enforcement. That's been really valuable to this investigation. No updates from that yet, if it has led to anything. And then the emotional support that we've seen from neighbors. They have been lining the outside of Nancy's home with yellow flowers. It's been a symbol of hope and optimism. And that is just one way that they are supporting this and keeping eyeballs on this investigation as well.
Now, Rebecca, the last time that I was talking to somebody about this case was a couple of days ago. And at the time, I believe the reward was at $100,000 from the FBI. Has that changed in any way?
So if you combine what the FBI is putting up as well as with the reward coming from the Pima County, it's actually now over $200,000.
Oh, wow.
And that's because a lawyer in Milwaukee, just a regular community member, not even from this area, but he put up $100,000 of his own money to add to this pot because he's hoping that the kidnapper might see, or not only the kidnapper, but somebody that is aware of the kidnapper or has credible information might see those dollar signs and finally feel compelled to come forward.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for giving us the latest in this, letting us know everything we have so far. I know our time with you is limited, so I'm going to let you go so you can continue finding out the rest of information that you may be able to bring for the rest of the Fox stations. But you guys out there streaming with us, you and I can go over some of the details that Rebecca just gave us. So, Rebecca, thank you so much. Remember, you just listened into there. She was telling you that the reward, if you've combined what some of the law enforcement agencies are telling us, we are now looking at over $200,000 or about $200,000 worth of a reward, which is wild to think about. And the other thing that I wanted to harp on that I heard her say, and it's actually really interesting to me, is law enforcement, they're asking people not just to think about what you haven't heard yet in this case. You're not just looking at what the Pima County Sheriff is telling you is there or what the FBI is putting out on social media. They want you, if you are in that area, to look at some of your family and your friends, or maybe just people who frequent your circle. Some people that you may have not seen in, well, about that 3-week span that we know that Nancy Guthrie has been missing. They're hoping that someone out there might turn over a stone, a leaf that they haven't been able to look into just yet, and that might be the next tip that helps them figure out who in the world took Nancy Guthrie, where she is, and hopefully be able to bring her back safely to her family. Well, still ahead, you guys, we're going to bring things back here hyper locally. So again, if you don't live in Georgia, you may be interested in these court cases coming up. I want to talk to you about the Colin Gray trial. So of course, that is that father of the accused high school shooter who is now facing murder charges himself. And that's because prosecutors, the defense, they're arguing back and forth over whether this father had knowledge that his son was experiencing some issues and that he could potentially harm other people. They also say that he supplied his son with the gun that was used in that mass murder. And then we'll also talk about a cold case that has now been ruled suicide, why law enforcement, after so many years, are finally coming up with an answer that may not necessarily be what family and friends wanted to hear. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about a case that we have been looking into for over 20 years now. This woman, Tara Baker, maybe you remember her name. She was killed. She was found dead in her apartment that was also burning. We just learned that the man convicted of her murder will be sentenced for, I'll tell you how long in just a second. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Remember I told you I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about that father of a young man that they say opened fire inside a school. This all happening in Barrow County. Maybe you remember the mass shooting that took place at Apalachee High School. Well, the shooter has been identified by law enforcement as Colin Gray. His father, however, has started his trial. It literally just ended the first week of it. And during the trial, at least on Friday, they dove a little deeper into who Colt was. They suggest that he actually had a shrine in his room that paid homage to other convicted mass school shooters. And so we know that the father, Colin Gray, faces 29 felony counts. This includes second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, if the son is the one who, quote, unquote, did the shooting, why are we looking at his dad? Why is his dad on trial? Why is his dad facing murder charges? And that's because the prosecutors, they're trying to suggest that this father knew who his son was, knew that his son was facing some mental health issues, some emotional issues, and that he was crying out for help in a sense, and that this father didn't help his son maybe get some therapy, talking to him a little more about how you shouldn't take your feelings out in the form of violence, especially not in shooting. They also suggest that this father purchased the murder weapon. This rifle was allegedly a Christmas gift for Colin Gray back in 2023. And they say despite knowing that his son had some issues and had a troubled history, the father went ahead and gave him that gun as a gift anyway. We know that part of that troubled history that I'm talking to you about included drawing Nazi symbols. He searched some things online like this phrase, how to kill your dad. The state also argues that Gray, the father, is criminally responsible because he provided his son access to this rifle despite knowing that he had severe behavioral red flags and that he posed a potential for violence towards other people. They say that he could have made sure that none of this happened. So now the defense attorneys, because every case has two sides, the defense attorneys say that there's no way that his father could have seen this tragedy coming. Yes, maybe he knew his son had some issues, but he suggests that the defense attorneys suggest that not even school counselors knew how bad Colt was suffering. And so how then could a parent be expected, I guess, to tell that this was what was going to happen? So like I said, they've been going back and forth all week long. We actually live stream every single day of this court case. So if you missed something, if you want to go back to something, you're definitely able to look up our YouTube channel. Again, we cover every single day. So if you want to go back and listen to some testimony, I'll let you know for a fact we have listened to a number of students who witnessed this horrible shooting. Again, it happened at Apalachee High School. We heard from kids who were shot themselves, kids who watched, unfortunately, their friends bleed out in front of them. Some watch their friends, their teachers die in front of them. We've also heard from school resource officers, one in fact who says that he was actually the person who took Colt down. And then we've also been hearing from parents and a couple of other experts in this trial. So one thing that we are looking at, especially on Friday, we looked over a lot of the evidence. Remember, I just showed you some photos in which they suggest he had a shrine to other school shooters. You see it there on your screen now. We also saw some tactical gear, some other weapons. They say they found a tactical style vest, multiple rifles, boxes of ammunition. They also found some unopened safety equipment. And while we are looking at all of this evidence, we were able to get a little bit of the testimony for you from the court. I want to let you listen in to see just where we were on Friday during trial day 5.
Overall of a pair of swim goggles that I located in that bedroom, and inside the goggles you can see what was identified as one bore sight and one rifle cartridge.
Okay, and is that, fortunately we had that orienting picture. Is this zoomed in from where the previous picture was?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And we'll go to the next picture.
This is that same pair of goggles. It's just now been identified with evidence marker 22.
Okay, you said that was a bore sight and a cartridge in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a close-up of the contents of the goggles.
All right, and that's .67. And is that object on the left the bore sight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. .68.
This is an overall of the closet that was in Colin's room.
Okay. And .69.
Another overall focusing more on the top of the closet.
Okay. And .70.
One of my overalls photographing the top shelf that was in the closet.
All right, and it's kind of hard to see in this picture, and we'll see clearer, but what are those boxes that we're seeing?
Various ammunition boxes.
Okay. We'll go to the next picture. That's .71.
That's another overall. That's the opposite side of that same shelf in the top of the closet.
Okay. And next slide.
These were overalls of some firearms that were located in that closet after I removed the clothing that was covering them.
Okay. Were there 2 firearms up there?
Yes, there were.
Okay. And we'll go to the next picture. That was .72. This is .73.
This is a overall photograph of a box of handgun ammunition that was in the top of the closet.
All right. And we'll go to the next slide, .74.
This is another overall of one of the firearms that's been marked with evidence marker 17.
Okay. And .75.
This was a pile of magazines that were located in the top of the closet that have been marked with evidence marker 19.
All right. And .76.
This is an overall of the closet, still with all the clothing on top of the contents of the closet.
Okay, so is this kind of on the left side of the closet?
Yes, ma'am. If you're facing the
looking at
closet, it would be more to the left.
Okay. .76, and we'll go to the next one, .77.
This is the same boxes of ammunition that have been marked with evidence marker 16, and this photo of the clothing has been moved from on top of them.
Okay, and next, .78.
This is a close-up photo of all the boxes of ammunition that I retrieved from the top of the closet.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and ask, was that closet locked or secured in any way that y'all weren't able to get into it?
No, ma'am. The closet door was open when I got there.
Okay. So that's .78. We'll go to .79. What do we see here?
A close-up photo of the .40 caliber Smith & Wesson ammunition box.
Okay. And .80.
This was the contents inside that box.
Okay. And .81.
An overall of another ammunition box and the contents that were inside that box.
Okay. And .82.
An overall of a different ammunition box.
Okay, and we'll go to the next one, .83.
These were the contents inside that box.
Okay, and are all these that we're looking at recovered from that top closet shelf next to those firearms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll go to the next one, .84.
An overall of a 12-gauge shotgun ammunition box.
Okay. We'll go to .85.
The contents recovered from that box.
All right, and is that your writing next to it identifying what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and can you just read that for us if you could see it? I know it's not super clear.
Apologies if I pronounced the name wrong, but 16 cellular and billet 12-gauge shotgun shells.
Okay. And this is .86.
This is an overall of a different ammunition box and the contents of that box.
And that's .87, and how many is that?
All right, so you guys, again, we were watching there as they went through some of the evidence that has been obtained so far in the Colin Gray murder trial. That includes a lot of ammunition. Again, that shrine that they say the son, Colt Gray, had that paid homage to other school shooters. And again, all of this is because they're trying to make a case of whether or not Colin Gray should have known, had ample opportunity to know that his son was facing some issues that could result in him harming other people. Again, they're also arguing that the father, Colin Gray, gave his son the murder weapon that was used to kill 2 students and 2 teachers during the Apalachee High School shooting. Want to let you know that that trial resumes on Monday, and one thing that all of us are going to be really looking forward to, we're expected to hear from Colt Gray's mother on Monday. That testimony will for sure be interesting. I'll talk to you a little bit more about how she's tied to this case and why she's not on trial when we come back to this in about an hour's time. So again, if you're with us right now on TikTok, YouTube, or any other social medias where we may be streaming right now, or listening to us on the Fox Local app or on your radio station, that is coming up again in about an hour. All right, want to talk to you now about a cold case in which a sheriff has recently decided that this is actually a suicide that we're looking into. And I want to be careful about how I talk about this because, you know, these are very sensitive cases here. But this happened about 8 years ago. The woman that you're looking at your screen, on your screen right there, her name is Heather Turner. About 8 years ago, she came up dead And it's kind of been a mystery as to how that happened, who was involved, if anyone. Well, recently the Paulding County Sheriff, Ashley Henson, says that he wants to put any remaining questions about what happened to Heather Turner to rest. They suggest that she was not a victim of foul play, even though that's what was thought of for the last couple of years. They now believe that she participated in her own death. In other words, they do believe that this is a suicide. They say that all facts that they've gathered so far have led them to determine that this wasn't much more than just a case of someone who wanted to end their lives. So here's a little backstory, just in case this is the first time you are hearing about this. May 4th, 2017, Heather Turner's husband, Andy Turner, found her inside of their home in Paulding County. She had been shot in the head. The sheriff's office says that the coroner back then ruled her death a suicide, but investigators say that she left a handwritten note. There are some words written on this. "I'm sorry, I love you." That's the note that was written. That is an exact quote from Captain Mike Hill of the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, however, called the circumstances around her death questionable, and they said that the cause of her death should be undetermined. So then there was some speculation. Rumors floated around the air online because they suggested that maybe there was some missing evidence. They accused her husband of spousal abuse and then ultimately accused him of murder. But we've gotten to hear from a cold case analyst from the Paulding County Sheriff's Office who suggests that any of those reports that we were hearing, well, they were just rumors. They were hearsay. I want to let you listen in to what he had to say. This is Eddie Herman speaking.
Heather's DNA was recovered and identified on the trigger guard. It was the only DNA recovered off the gun. Heather Turner's hands tested positive for gunshot residue. The results of Andy's test, the GSR test, was negative. The travel pattern of the bullet, the close contact are both consistent with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
So you were just listening in there. Eddie Herman, again, he is a cold case analyst with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office, did say that they were able to determine that this was a suicide. And we'll talk to you a little bit more about the details of this case and why they believe they're so sure in just a little bit. So stick around with us on this live stream. But last but not least, I want to talk to you about the Tara Baker murder trial. You probably know her name very well. She was the UGA law student who was found dead in her apartment way back in 2001. So now we're in 2026. How did we get this far? How do we not have answers? Well, it was a cold case. At the time, they weren't able to determine who did this, but because of the DNA that was collected way back in 2001, that has since been analyzed, experts have gotten their hands on it. They were able to determine that a man, you see him there way at the left side of your screen, his name is Edric Faust. They were able to determine that he played a role in this. They actually found some of his DNA on Tara Baker's body and inside of Tara Baker's body. So he was convicted not too long ago in this murder. We were just waiting to hear when and how he would be sentenced. I want to let you listen in to Judge Lisa Lott. She's the chief judge on that case. She delivered his sentencing not too long ago. Let's listen in together.
Faust, please stand. This court finds, based upon the evidence presented at trial and the jury's verdict, that a sentence involving rehabilitation is not appropriate in this case. And I'm going to sentence you, Mr. Faust, as follows. With regard to count 1, life. Counts 2 through 5 are what we call in the legal world vacated. That means no sentence, and that is imposed as a matter of law. Those are the felony murder counts. With regard to count 6, which is the burglary charge, 20 years consecutive to counts 8 and 10, which I will get to in a moment. With regard to count 7, which is the first aggravated sodomy charge, 30 years, and 20 years is 20 years confinement. Count 7 is 30 years in confinement. That is concurrent with count 1. Count 8, the rape charge, is life. That is consecutive to count 1, which is the other life sentence. With regard to count 9, The court agrees that count 9 does merge with count 1 as a matter of law, and that's the aggravated assault charge. With regard to count 10, which is the other aggravated sodomy charge, the court imposes 30 years in confinement. That is consecutive to count 1 and 7. That is also concurrent with count 8. Count 11, which is the arson and the first-degree charge, the court imposes 20 years of confinement consecutive to count 6. And count 12, which is possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, the court imposes 5 years in confinement. That is consecutive to count 11. The order of the court are 2 consecutive life sentences to be imposed, plus an additional 45 years to be served in confinement. That'll be the order of the court. You are in custody. Thank you. Court is adjourned.
So again, you're listening there, 2 consecutive life sentences in the murder of Tara Baker. Not only was Edric Faust accused in her murder, convicted in her murder, but also of raping her. And so the family, as you can imagine, has finally gotten what they believe to be a sense of justice in this case. If there's anything else that comes of this, maybe an appeal or anything like that, we will be sure to let you know right here on the Fox 5 Atlanta. All right, still coming up, we want to talk to you a little bit more about Laken Riley, a name maybe you haven't heard of in a little bit there, but she was the student of Augusta. She was running on the campus of UGA when we heard that she was killed. And so a lot of people have been weighing in on this because the person they do believe killed her was an illegal immigrant. So I know today there is a 5K. I want to get out to our Kim Luffler in just a little bit. She'll be showing you how people, the community, they're still coming out in droves. Even though this happened about 2 years ago, they're still coming out to support the Riley family. We'll be touching base with our Kim Luffler in just a minute. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. The community is gathering right now just after a 5K run and walk. This is all in honor of Laken Riley, a name that you probably remember very well. But I want to get right out to our Kim Luffler, who went out there in Athens for this run. Kim, can you just give us a backup? I was going to say a preview, but let's back up and talk about why this run took place. And for those people who maybe don't know Laken Riley's name, a little bit more about who she is in this case.
Yeah, absolutely, Judea. Good morning. Well, I have made my way to Tate Plaza. I'm kind of taking some cover under a little bit of an awning here because we are having some rain right now. But just behind me is Tate Plaza, and that is where the memorial is going to be happening in the next 20 minutes. And there's going to be several speakers, including some members of Laken Riley's family. Now, we have a little bit of video. As you mentioned, there was that 5K that did take place a little bit earlier today. We're told 588 people came out for that 5K. This is all in honor of Laken Riley, who was killed 2 years ago. Tomorrow is going to mark the 2-year anniversary of her death. She was running on a trail here on UGA's campus near Lake Herrick when her killer, convicted killer Jose Ibarra, attacked her and killed her. And he went to trial just a few months later, and he was convicted on all charges against him and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This case, of course, sparked national attention because it came to light that Jose Ibarra entered the country illegally, and so that certainly sparked a lot of political conversations as well. But everyone who came out here today kind of had their own reasons for coming out here and wanting to support and honor Laken and support her family. Take a listen to the organizer of the run this morning, and then also one of the runners that we spoke with as well.
I want anyone to ever forget who Laken Riley is. Athens is a special place to me. I grew up coming here, and now that this has happened, I have had many students reach out to me, women too, that are friends of mine, and we all do not go on that trail anymore. We don't feel comfortable running in general, and now I would like for us to basically remember her and know what she went through.
Just as a young girl, I was assaulted by a stranger, and I was able to get away. And what breaks my heart is this kind of thing even happens, this horrible tragedy, but Laken should be here. And I just want to do what I can to support and honor her. My son was a student here at the time.
This case still really hitting home for so many people 2 years later. Again, that memorial service expected to start in the next 20 minutes. We do expect some members of Laken Riley's family to speak, as well as Mike Collins, and he is the representative that introduced the Laken Riley Act not long after Riley's death. That act does require illegal immigrants who have committed violent crimes to be arrested, and President Trump did sign that act into law in January of last year. So certainly going to be a very emotional memorial here, and a lot of people coming out here this morning. Judea.
Oh, for sure, Kim. I'm actually looking forward to some of the remarks that we're going to hear. Again, as you said, Representative Collins will be speaking. I would really like to hear what he thinks about all of this, because I know he took it very, very seriously. He was one of the first representatives to speak up, actually, when we found out about her murder. Now, Kim, again, I said before that I wanted to talk to you, touch base on some of your reporting, because you were one of those main reporters when this case was initially going on. First and foremost, I heard that recently a judge was set to hear some arguments and maybe a new trial motion for Jose Ibarra, the man who was convicted in her killing. Have you heard anything about that in particular?
Well, from what I was not covering that trial that day, but from what I saw from our coverage from our Tyler Fingert that day, basically, Ibarra is asking for a new trial. He's saying that his defense attorneys didn't have enough time to review some of the DNA evidence, and specifically some of the technology that they use to analyze that DNA. So he has new representation now. And so far, from my understanding, the judge has not made a ruling on that as well. But that is kind of where the case stands right now. But he is still behind bars.
Okay. And then in the initial case that you were on, can you talk to me a little bit more about, I guess, what evidence they may have been presenting, some of the things that really led the jury to believe that he did do this?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of surveillance video of Ibarra on the trail, also throwing a bloody jacket into the dumpster by his apartment complex. The apartment complex where he lived really was right on the edge of UGA's campus there. So between the DNA evidence that they presented, DNA that was on some of the items, also had some of Riley's DNA as well, and the surveillance video evidence. And I remember a hat of his being one of the main focuses of that trial as well. That is the decision, why the judge made the decision. So this was a bench trial, so that means the judge was the one to decide Ibarra's fate, and that is something that the defense requested for that trial, because a lot of times attorneys say that the judges will make the ruling based on the evidence rather than juries that could potentially make a ruling based more on emotion. But even with all the evidence presented, Judge Patrick Haggard did convict Ibarra on all counts. of the 10 counts against him.
All right, well, really interested. I'm glad you were able to break down what took place before in terms of the trials, what could potentially come up if he does get this motion granted, where he'll be able to talk to a judge. And then, of course, we know today with the 5K, so many people, you said over 500 running in her honor?
588.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. All happening in Athens. We'll be checking back in with Kim Luffler and our live camera on this service that will take place in a little bit all day long. So Kim, I really appreciate you joining us at 9 o'clock in the 9 o'clock hour, giving us the latest that's happening out there in Athens. Well, you guys, let's come back in. We talked to our meteorologist, Alex Forbes, a little earlier on, so you know it is extremely stormy out there in the Georgia area. So if you plan on getting out there, we'll be talking to you a little bit. I want to check in with our Eli Jordan, who's on the roads right now, of how that stormy weather may affect your transit or your commute. Let's see now. Eli is on one of our interstates. I'm not sure exactly which one, but I hope he can hear me and we'll be able to chat with him live. Eli, we want to know what it's like on the roads. Can you tell me exactly where you are?
Hey, Judea. Yeah, I am on I-20 West. I'm on Six Flags Hill heading west.
Oh, wow.
And it's slow going. It's a lot of rain. And, you know, we had some hardcore downpours earlier. That's these, you know, like a lot of green over us, but there's some patches of a yellow and maybe it's a little bit of an orange, but those seem to be dissipating some. But there's a little bit behind this. And I'm kind of in the thick of it along I-20 here. The entire Atlanta perimeter and inside the perimeter is completely covered with rain. And you guys got a little bit of yellow over you, Judea. And but I'm out in the green right now. We had did have a orange cell above me, but it looks like it's dissipated. But slow going on the interstates. You know, just take it easy, and you know, you have your usual patches of water you got to watch out for. Don't let it, you know, don't go too fast and have it hit those patches of water and pull your car one way or another. That can be kind of scary and dangerous, and don't want to hydroplane. But all in all, it's all, you know, just a typical rainy day out on the interstates, and nothing too bad. I haven't seen too many traffic jams yet, but you know, we do have that cell down to the south and west of us that's going to be cutting across below the metro area. That looks fairly interesting right now as I look at the radar. But right now, in the metro area, it's cruising fairly easily, but not too fast. You know, you can't go your typical breakneck speed that you normally do on the interstates or whatever, but it's not too bad. Nothing's clogged up, and this should be moving on through as this front comes through later on. Judea?
Well, that's good to hear, Eli. Let me ask you this. I see there are not that many people out there on the roads, but do you get the sense that people are driving a little slower, or right now is it pretty much smooth sailing?
Well, right now, people are going a little bit slower than they normally would. If this was a clear day, you know, you might be, people would be going over the speed limit like they normally do on the interstate. Yeah, but right now we're going, you know, a few miles underneath the speed limit. Everybody's kind of cruising. There might be a few people going right up at 70, but I'm going about 63, 62 miles an hour, and a lot of other people are about the same pace. The biggest thing is the spray up from the tires and the vehicles in front of you, especially if you get behind a semi truck. They can spray up pretty good, but all in all, it's not too bad out here. Just to give yourself a little extra space so you can have some time to brake if anybody brakes suddenly in front of you and you don't want to slide into anybody. So the typical, you know, precautions you take during wet weather, but there's nothing out of the ordinary too much. Just a good downpour we're having. Judea?
I'll take it. Thank you, Eli. You be safe out there. We'll check back in with you in a little bit because I know eventually you'll be on your way to one of your stories. So again, be safe. And again, we're hoping to see what the weather is looking like in about 30 minutes or so. Eli, thanks so much. All right, you guys, I was checking in on our TikTok. Remember, this is an interactive, live conversation. And so you are able to join our live chats on all of our social medias where we may be streaming. On TikTok, I see a couple of you talking about that Laken Riley 5K memorial service. So for one, I see one person, I won't name you here, but they say this is interesting timing 2 years later for a memorial service. It seems almost political in the climate. And then we have another person weighing in. They say, okay, so don't you dare give a funeral for any of your family members, even though, you know, this is 2 years later. Another person weighing in saying they think Republicans are exploiting her death despite her family's wishes. And I want to point out that Laken Riley's family actually will be speaking at this memorial. They're going to speak right before Representative Mike Collins takes the mic. And so again, we're hoping that we're going to get that live coverage for you all. But if I can give you the exact time stamp so that you know when to tune back in with us on Fox Local, but hopefully you don't go anywhere because it will be soon. We're expecting the family to come and talk at 10 a.m. on the dot. And then Representative Mike Collins is supposed to participate in a Q&A at 10:15. So again, her family is involved actually in these events that are happening out there in Athens. This isn't something that is necessarily happening against their wishes. So just wanted to point that out there for you guys, making sure that we're all on the same path while we're chit-chatting. But another death, one that shook the world, especially, that I want to talk to you all about, is that of Reverend Jesse Jackson. When we come back, I'll let you listen into his family, who talks a little bit more about who he really was, really appreciative that people are taking his life in as so seriously, but also they want to be able to talk themselves about how they think he should be remembered. So I'll let you listen into that when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. We recently lost a titan, a big figure in civil rights, especially here in Atlanta. We're of course talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson. And while I could tell you all of these different stories about him, I really feel like the best way to tell you who he was and the legacy that they're hoping he's able to leave behind, that would come from his family. And they actually gave a press conference out in Chicago. I want to let you listen to about 30 seconds of it. We'll play a little bit more of it for you later on in the stream.
What a blessing it is to be here today. My mind, Santino. As Reverend Jackson, who we called leadership, we called Reverend, but he wouldn't listen to me when I'd call him Reverend. He demanded that I call him Daddy. My mind. Because he said, I am that. Black men take a real knock for not being involved fathers, although the CDC showed us that black men are the most involved fathers in America. More involved than white fathers, Hispanic fathers, and our father took fatherhood very seriously. He took that charge. It was his charge to keep. And so today we celebrate his life, although his body is absent from us. His spirit suffuses and infuses us, and it charges us to continue with the work.
So we'll listen in a little bit more. That is Santita Jackson speaking. She's the oldest daughter of Reverend Jesse Jackson. The family did also let us know how they expect to be able to go forward with a celebration of life. That's just going to be his funeral services. So I'll be able to give you that information later on in this live stream. Don't go anywhere. I also want to talk to you about what one of the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, what he says won't happen in terms of Reverend Jesse Jackson's celebration of life. So we'll get to all of that in just a little bit, but first and foremost, we've got to get back to the weather, and of course I want to bring you back out to that Laken Riley 5K. We'll hear more from our meteorologist and our reporter on the ground when we come back. Hi guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. I want to get right back out to Athens, where we know the community, a large amount of the community, has gathered in order to pay their homage, to pay respects, but also help the family support the life of Laken Riley. There's a memorial service taking place out there. Our Kim Loeffler is the reporter who got right out there. She saw the 5K take off and end. Kim, where are we at in the service now? I think the Riley family may be speaking soon. Am I right?
Well, the service service is set to begin, or what's set to begin at 10 o'clock. You can see there's a lot of rain here in Athens, so it's kind of, you know, they're kind of having to readjust a little bit. But you can probably see just behind me here, people kind of taking cover under that awning there. That is Tate Plaza, and the memorial is set up to happen just beyond where all of those folks are standing there. But we do expect some of Laken Riley's family to speak during this service, as well as Mike Collins. And Mike Collins is the representative that took a lot of legislative action following Laken Riley's death. But if we have this video, we do have some video of the 5K that happened earlier this morning. We're told 588 people signed up for that 5K, and all done to honor Laken Riley. She was killed on February 22nd of 2 years ago, 2024, while she was running here on UGA's campus. Her convicted killer, Jose Ibarra, went to trial not long after, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And this case did spark national attention because it came to light that Ibarra entered the country illegally. But a lot of people that I've spoken to throughout the day have different reasons for wanting to come out here, but everyone just wants to make sure Laken's memory stays alive. Now take a listen to someone that we spoke with that helped organize this event, as well as one of the runners this morning as well.
I want anyone to ever forget who Laken Riley is. Athens is a special place to me. I grew up coming here, and now that this has happened, I have had many students reach out to me, women too, that are friends of mine, and we all do not go on that trail anymore. We don't feel comfortable running in general, and now I would like for us to basically remember her and know what she went through.
Just as a young girl, I was assaulted by a stranger, and I was able to get away. And what breaks my heart is this kind of thing even happens, this horrible tragedy, but Laken should be here. And I just want to do what I can to support and honor her. My son was a student here at the time.
And again, that memorial service is going to be starting here at any moment. Mike Collins, who I mentioned, is going to be speaking. He is the one who proposed the Laken Riley Act that requires illegal immigrants who commit violent crimes to be taken into custody. And President Trump did sign the Laken Riley Act into law in January of 2025. So we're going to have a live camera here, and we will keep you updated throughout the hour when this memorial service does begin.
Kim, thank you so much. I remember this case, I mean, almost probably to the day where we heard that Laken lost her life, and just how many Republicans, but especially just the politicians all over, jumped right in to try to come up with some sort of legislation that would make sure this didn't happen to anybody else's child. So looking forward to hearing what the family does have to say, and of course what Representative Collins says in that Q&A. So I appreciate you setting us up for this and letting us know exactly how we got here to this very day. That's been our Kim Loeffler reporting for you guys live from Athens, Georgia. And as she said, once we do have that live camera up, I do want to let you listen into the service as it proceeds. But let's take a live look outside real quick here in downtown Atlanta. You could see all the speckles of rain on the camera. So yes, it is a pretty stormy day out here across Georgia. Checking in now with our meteorologist, Alex Forbes. Alex, I understand that things are really only getting worse. I want to let you take it over, though, and tell us what exactly we need to know about the weather ahead today.
Yeah, Judea, so the deal is the storms are coming in a little hot down south of I-20, right? They're coming in with a little more of a punch than, I don't want to say what than was anticipated, but they're coming in at the same level, just a little further north. So let me take you down here. I've got the cart pulled up here. I'm going to pull you into Coweta County, particularly into the Noonan area, where in just the last 20 minutes, we've had over 150 lightning strikes from Noonan down into LaGrange, and you're looking at straight line winds, and I can tell that just based off the radar with how quickly you go from nothing to red. Whenever you get that on your reflectivity, which is what we're looking at here, that's typically indicative of the straight line winds. Now, something I want to point out that we're going to be keeping an eye on, all right, we're going to be looking to see if you get any spots that have green and red coming together, because when these storms were back into Alabama, they had that. And when you get green and red on a map like this, that's when you're looking at rotation in the atmosphere. And it's something that's not impossible this morning. It's not exactly likely, but it is something that could potentially be in the mix here through the morning hours. In fact, I want to back this up and show you an example back into Alabama, something we're going to be watching for. I'm going to flip the radar site over to Birmingham, and I'm going to back this up to about 8:45, 8:40 right there. If you see a signature like this and these two colors are brighter, right along 280, that was just north of Lake Martin, that's something I'm watching for. Keep in mind, this is the same storm that's entering Troup County now, to see if it repeats itself once it gets to LaGrange or at any other point in our area. So that was about an hour and a half ago, a little under an hour and a half ago. And you see now that storm is in Troup County. Now, one of the things we can do with the radar, mind you, we're looking at one particular radar, is look at the different levels of it. So what we're going to do, let's see, is tilt this up. And as I do that, whoop, too fast. Let's see. Maybe if it wants to go. Maybe I'll set that up and we can, there we go. So we're looking higher up in the storm. Notice you're getting those greens and reds. So we are monitoring Troup County just to see what goes on down there, because as we look at this here over the next little while, it's something that is going to be catching our eyes. So that's the lay of the land on the radar front as of now. We also have this severe weather threat. You see, it really got started south of Troup County, that level 1, and only Upson County is included in it. By the way, Upson County is at like 70 degrees right now. So the atmosphere is prime for it, but that's what we're looking at here for the next little while. So that's about what the radar looks like right now. You see those storms do slide down to the south, so anything we do see this morning by the noon hour is gone, and then into the afternoon remaining cloudy with a couple scattered showers this evening before we just turn dirt cold for tomorrow morning. That's a new meteorological term, dirt cold. Mid-20s here in Metro Atlanta. This is 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then once we get into the afternoon, that's the best we do. 34 in Atlanta, 31 in Canton, 26 over in Ellijay, 29 in Cornelia. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Get into the Monday morning hours. No thank you. 8 in Canton, 10 in Atlanta, 3 in Blairsville. I had a run earlier that had 0 in Blairsville, so that's definitely going to be a possibility. The other thing I'm watching for is up across northeast Georgia, really beginning in the higher elevations of Fannin and Gilmer counties, and then working our way towards Rabun County. The potential for some flurries before all is said and done Sunday into Monday. But for today, looking for a high temperature of 63, 67 in Blairsville, 65 over in Gainesville. And here is your Fox 5 Storm Team forecast now. 50 for Sunday, 42 on Monday, windy both days, so wind chills will be around before we're back in the 60s next week. And Judea, before I send it back to you, I'll leave you with one last look at the radar here. Again, it's going to be what you see right along I-85, Noonan down to LaGrange, down to West Point Lake. I'm going to be watching this here over the next 30 minutes or so.
Okay, got it. First of all, for our viewers out there, our live viewers, if you are in the path of the storm and you'd like to send us any photos, videos of the rain coming down, we would love that. You can email us here or reach out to us on any of our social medias, Fox 5 Atlanta. Last thing, Alex, it's so crazy because I thought we were, well, I was praying that we were done with the snow, but to see that flurries are possible all the way up there in North Georgia, that took me for a loop.
Yeah, and it's important to note, like, right, that map said flurries possible dash no impacts.
Yeah.
So we're not looking for like a widespread snowfall. It would just be like, oh look, it's flurrying again. I'm cold. Go back inside. That's going to be the fun.
I hope that's exactly what you all do. But I know you're going to want to take your pictures and photos, videos with the kiddos out there. So Alex, again, thank you for bringing us our live look at our forecast. We'll be checking back in with you a little later on. Now, you guys, did you hear about that child in Sandy Springs who died, a 2-year-old, by an accidental shooting? Because they say that he was supposed to be down for a nap. It was sent to the room alone, and then it's, according to authorities, his father had left him in there with a gun. That 2-year-old boy got a hold of that gun, shot and killed himself. Now his father, Richard Willis, you just saw him on your screen there, you see the top of his head there. He appeared in court for the very first time on Thursday. He's facing some serious criminal charges, and we do know that bond has been denied for him, so he's remaining in custody under the Georgia law. He's expected to face the judge again. What I can tell you about this situation, again, it happened in Sandy Springs. This is an apartment complex on Wednesday. Willis says that he and the mother had just gotten to the apartment. The little boy, the 2-year-old, was supposed to be down for a nap. They say they put him in the room with a cell phone. And from there, they say that the little boy found a fanny pack that had a 9mm handgun in it. It was loaded. It was also just tossed, according to authorities, on the bed of the master bedroom. So they say that the toddler came downstairs saying the phone had died. The father he asked his dad if he would come up there and lay with him instead. But Willis told him to go back upstairs by himself, again, where that gun was supposedly located. And shortly after that, they say they heard a gunshot. That little boy, unfortunately, pulled the trigger, killing himself. Now that father is charged with murder and cruelty to children. Police, at the same time, are urging gun owners to lock up their firearms. They say there's so much more that our parents, our caregivers could be doing to make sure that we stay safe. They say, actually, it only costs $20 to save a child's life. So gun owners, as you heard with that father there, they could face criminal charges, but also, more importantly, I would say, severe emotional trauma for themselves and for the people that they hurt when an unsecured firearm ends up in the hands of the wrong person, more specifically a child. They say that all of these child shootings in which a gun was just out in the open, or maybe it was in the case, the carrying case, but it wasn't locked up, they say that all of these things are preventable. So primary safety protocols for you gun owners out there, you might know that you're supposed to use a lockbox or a biometric safe in the home. They're also suggesting that you use them in your cars in order to make sure that these kids don't get access to one of your firearms. They say that when it comes down to it, the responsibility entirely lies on the adult to treat every weapon as one that is loaded and to never underestimate a child's resourcefulness. They say your kid is more intelligent than you may think. Just because you put it away doesn't mean they don't know how to get through the lock, or just because you locked it doesn't mean that they just because you locked it doesn't mean that they can't figure out maybe where the key is. So there are a lot of different things that you could do. And again, they're saying that it really just costs about $20 in order to get one of these lock boxes. Another option for you is that biometric safe, where you would have to use a fingerprint or a code or something like that in order to get inside and be able to get the gun. So the ATF, they have a Youth Handgun Safety Act. You can read more about it and what it entails. That is available on ATF's website, atf.gov, if you'd like to learn more. Last thing I want to talk to you about is whether or not we're getting a stimulus check. Real quick, because I see we have that live shot set up at the memorial where they're honoring Laken Riley, so we'll go over this pretty quickly. Right now, Congress says there's been no federal stimulus check authorized by them or the IRS for 2026. But you may have heard about the $1,776, so $1,000, $776 worth of a warrior dividend. That would be a one-time tax-free payment. This is specifically for active duty troops and reservists, not for everybody. We also know that you've probably heard about the $2,000 proposed tariff dividends, but that remains speculative. As projected revenue right now, it falls short of the estimated costs. So if you've heard anything about new stimulus checks, IRS direct deposits, relief payments, tariff dividends spread throughout 2025, and of course they're still spreading around in 2026, it's not necessarily true. What I can tell you is here in Georgia, we are expected to get a little extra money. I think $250 for single filers, $500 for joint filers, and that is because Georgia had a surplus in the budget. This was all made public information by Governor Brian Kemp. So right now, that is really the only extra money that you should expect to be coming your way. All right, I want to get right back out to Athens. I see on one of our news sources, we've got a camera live for you all at that memorial service for Laken Riley. This is 2 years after she was found dead. They do say that she was killed by an illegal immigrant while running on the campus of UGA. Her family is speaking right now, so I'm going to let them take over.
We're the organizers of this event. I'm the president of an organization here on campus called Young Americans for Freedom, and we're a new group. We're a conservative activist group, and we're out here really trying to make an influence on our culture. Let's see, is that better? We have a number of events that we're hosting, and we've put on. Last semester, we brought in Yami Park, a North Korean defector, to come and talk to us about the issues with communism and socialism. And coming up on Monday, we're bringing in Chloe Cole, which our poster is right up there. Over there, we've had a war with with some of the other groups here trying to rip our posters down. But we're hosting her on Monday to talk about the issues with transgenders and that ideology. And so that's a bit about us, and I'll give it off to Macy.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. YAF has been amazing. Nick being the president of that, and he's done an incredible job organizing. My organization's Elizabeth's Son Designs, and I'm just on mission for Jesus. And right now, you know, we're going to have a little bit of a flow here. You're going to hear us speak with Lauren, which is Laken Riley's sister, her little sister. She's going to join me here in just a moment. And then followed up, Nick is going to interview Mike Collins. And after that, we'll have a message from Derek Anglin with New Grace Church. And he's going to tell us why it's called Run for Your Life. I know that there's a lot going on in the media about that name, and we're going to give some answers to that. There is a myriad of reasoning for that name. So I'm super happy that you guys are, you know, here in this weather, in this rain. I know it's, you know, it's making us have to contort a lot of things, so it is what it is, right? But we're here. If you want, we can go ahead and transition over.
I'll hand it off to Lauren.
All right, Lauren. Let's go, sister. Yeah, can we get another round of applause for Lauren?
Do you want to sit? Are we going to stand?
I think I might just stand. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. I usually go off the cuff, but
I'm going off the cuffs, so let's see how it goes.
One of us has to stay on track, I think.
This might be crazy. We'll see how it goes.
Real quick, just a little background. At the beginning of this year, the reason that this happened is, you know, I felt God's heart for their family and everything that they've been going through. And I reached out to the Laken Hope Foundation, asked them, hey, do you guys have anything coming up for this memorial? And Lauren called me, and she was like, I was just talking to my dad about this. I would love to do something. I think this is a God thing. And so after we had this conversation, we met for coffee. And it was only 5 weeks ago that all of this started getting planned, just so you guys know. And so we'll go right into learning a little bit about your process, Lauren. So here's some questions that we came up with for you guys, just to get to know a bit more about her and her family. So, Lauren, what was it like growing up with your older sister, Laken?
First, hi guys. Thank you so much for coming. This is great, and I'm so happy that everyone has been here. I'm Lauren, if we haven't met, and I had the privilege of living with Laken as my older sister. I think sister is kind of a loose term because it's very broad, and it leaves room where you have to clarify how close you were, what the relationship was. But I'm so lucky. Laken was my best friend. And I just love her so much. And she was like, my mom will tell you this too, she was like my mom. She was so motherly, and we just balanced each other out. And she was, I think we're very different in a lot of ways, but it all came together so perfectly, and I'm just blessed that I had 17 years with her.
Thank you, yeah. I have a sister, and I know how special that relationship is. Can you tell us about Laken's faith in Christ and how it inspired your faith?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be very vulnerable here. Whenever this all happened, I was not where I should have been in my faith journey. And Laken was on fire for Jesus, like on fire. And so when all this happened, I'm like I don't understand. I don't understand, God, because she's the most perfect person. She has the greatest faith. And why wasn't it me? Why wasn't it anyone else? But it was in those times where I was running from God. I was so mad that he came so intently to my heart. And it has completely changed my life. He has shown up in ways that I cannot even explain to you guys. And I've gotten a lot you're so strong. I don't know how you hold it together. It's not me. God has completely taken over my heart. And I as awful as it's been, I will not sit here and say, oh, I'm so fine, so peaceful. But I would not be here today if it wasn't for God and the way that he's shown up in my life. And I give all credit to Laken because that was my inspiration, and that's who I looked up to. So, yes, God is good, y'all. God is good.
God is so good. Thank you. Grief is very difficult to navigate, and it's amazing because most of the time you see it kind of pull people away, and this has brought you closer to him, and I know you kind of touched on that, but if you wanted to speak more about your faith and how God has moved in your life, any instances or anything specific, yeah.
I think the first couple months I was in shambles. I know. And it was bad. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you guys. But it's just in those little moments where I'm thinking I can't do it anymore. I'm sitting there, I'm crying out to God, that a wave of peace just comes over, and I can't explain it. It's so crazy the way that he's just come in and changed my life. And it's made me, my heart desires to get into his word, to have a relationship with him. And it's not me. He has worked in me, and I have had to put in the work. But it's been so good. It's been so life-changing, for sure.
All right, last question is, how can we live like Laken?
Oh, good one. I'm sure a lot of y'all, maybe some of y'all met her, if you're lucky. But she was the light of the room. Her smile and her laugh, y'all, her laugh, everyone just knows that laugh. She was so perfect, and her faith, that's literally all I go to is her faith. God shined so brightly through her, and she never met a stranger. People will tell you, when nobody was there, Laken was. And I know she pushed so many people to Jesus, and I think if we gotta be kind to each other, and yeah, keep the faith. Keep the faith, y'all, because God is good. I'll say it again. He's so good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Can we just... You have to be pretty strong to be up here and speak like she's able to speak. This is the power of God, what you're looking at right here. I've gotten to know Lauren. I cannot even imagine. I'm so proud of you. I'm so very proud of you and your parents. And I know that this is going to do something and change someone's life, to know that their eternity is going to be spent in heaven when they meet Jesus. Because once you die, that's sealing your deal. So thank you guys. Thank you for keeping the faith and inspiring all of us to stay strong.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I really do appreciate it.
All right, next we're going to have Nick and Mike Collins come up, and they're going to speak more about the educational side and how we can be more active in doing something about this and making sure that this never happens to someone else.
Wow. So again, you guys were just listening in to Lauren Riley, the younger sister of Laken Riley, the young woman who we know was killed on the campus of UGA. She was just jogging. She was an Augusta University nursing student. So they are now calling up Representative Mike Collins, who's the author of the Laken Riley Act, and that is supposed to make sure, again, as they just said there, that this never happens to another person. Long story short, an illegal immigrant was convicted in the killing of Laken Riley. So we'll have more on this. We'll dip back in so you guys can listen into that Q&A in just a little bit, but we do need to take a step back. You guys will be right back. Hi guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. Before the break, we were just listening in as Representative Mike Collins approached the mic. He's undergoing a Q&A right now at a memorial held for Laken Riley. She is that Augusta University nursing student who was killed on the campus of UGA. Remember, she was jogging, and they say that her convicted killer is an illegal immigrant who has been charged. So I do want to let you listen in to our Representative Mike Collins as he talks a little bit more about what the Laken Riley Act is and how he came to learn and know more about the Laken Riley family.
6 grandkids, and we got another grandson hitting the ground here, I guess, next month, and we'll give him 9 months. We'll put him in dispatch and get him to work. But I like to preface all that and say that I think that 30 years of experience in small business in a very regulated environment, very taxed environment, gave me the knowledge to go to Congress, go to Washington, and be effective. Because I would say that in the short time that I've been up there, and I don't mean this braggadociously, but y'all, I think I could say I probably had one of the most successful careers in Congress in just the short time frame that I've been there. To have 2 pieces of legislation signed into law, to get as much stuff as we have done for individual communities around this state. And it's just been a privilege and an honor to serve. To me, it's probably the best time in the history of this country to be a member of Congress, for the fact that we have the ability to move legislation.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those acts is why you're here today and why we want you to be present at this event and speak on this. You were passed the Laken Riley Act. And I'm sure all of us have heard of the Laken Riley Act, but I don't think a lot of us understand what it is and why it was so important that it was passed.
Yeah, well, it was important for several different reasons. And I don't know if y'all recall when President Trump was signing that piece of legislation, he looked over and he said, "Mike, I can tell it got personal with you." And it did. You know, not just the fact that Allison, you and John, y'all are salt of the earth people, and you could tell that they had a very strong family and they loved their girls, and you could feel that. You knew there was an emotional side there, and it still is. But it was just the fact that I was able to take. And I tell people all the time, I look at everything from a business sense. Up there, what's the problem? What's the solution? How we fix it so that it never happens again? And we knew what the problem was, and the solution was to lock that fellow up and give him the death penalty and take care of that. But to fix it, what actually happened? And it was common sense. It was just a problem in the law that stated that local law enforcement were not able to contact ICE or demanded to contact ICE to get rid of people that were here illegally, committing crimes, and they could be petty crimes. But the problem that we had in this country was these illegal criminals were getting more and more emboldened. I mean, this guy was picked up for endangering a child. So we stepped it up a notch. He was picked up for shoplifting, but never anything happened. And so, simple bill. It just requires to call ICE, tell them what you got, pick them up, process them, and deport them. And people ask me, well, how's the bill doing, Mike? Well, in 1 year, because that piece of legislation was signed into law on January 29th, 2025, the first piece of legislation that, and remind me about that President Trump signed when he got back into office. 17,500 people, illegal criminal thugs, have been picked up off the streets and taken out of the communities because of Laken Riley Act. And I don't know how, if you want to know how God works in just mysterious ways, I have been put into so many positions over my life, and I can't even explain it. I don't know how I get to be in positions. And some of them aren't good, but they have good outcomes, and I think this is one of them. But people say, Mike, how did you do that? How did we get Laken Riley through like we did? And I was talking to a gentleman back there about another bill. I'm going to tell y'all something. There ain't nothing that happens in Washington, D.C. until the American people demand it. And they demanded that piece of legislation go through. And we got it through the House in a bipartisanship way. And I knew I could use that leverage over in the Senate, which is what we did. But the other part of it is, there's so much legislation that goes through Congress. And I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much.
No, keep going. We have plenty of time here.
But y'all, I didn't really have any opposition this last time around. And it's the first, it's my first re-elect, but I even did it when I got elected the first time. I was out there and campaigning for people all over the country that I wanted to be a member of Congress. I mean, if you were a Christian, if you were a small business person, if you were MAGA, if you were America First, I would go and knock doors for several days with you. And so the leadership heard about that, and Steve Scalise, majority leader, said, come on, Mike, I want you to go with me. And hey, that was a whole lot better ride than being in Delta. And I love Delta, but it was a nicer plane. So we're flying and talking, and it just dawned on me, hey, let's bring this up. And I said, majority leader, listen, Laken Riley Act, we couldn't get it out of the Senate in the 118th because our U.S. senators here in Georgia wouldn't help me one bit. They didn't lift one finger. And they could have passed it easily because they had the Senate and the White House. It would have got signed. So that tells you where they really stood on it. But I said, majority leader, listen, this is a great piece of legislation. It's common sense. It'll help. And I said, I know you're going to put Tom Homan's going to be back there giving this ammo so that we can get rid of these people. Well, we talked on about other things. Lo and behold, he called me and he said, Mike, we're going to bring it up first. It'll be the first thing we bring up. And when you think about it, it was so important because President Trump was talking about border and border security, and what better piece of legislation to bring up than this piece of legislation. Make it number one, set the tone for the rest of Congress. That happened to have been the most consequential immigration legislation in 30 years. 30 years. So it was amazing. It was an honor to carry it, and it's something that'll continue to help save lives forever.
Yeah, and God's always moving. I think in people who carry. Yeah, can we give him an applause for that? Yeah, absolutely. So you've talked a little bit about how God has kind of moved through this and moved through the Laken Riley Act and really performed miracles throughout the course of legislating this. Could you, for my final question here, could you please speak to your experience with your faith in God and how that ties into your leadership as a politician?
Yeah, no, I say that everybody grew up in Butts County. Even my grandparents were there too. So I grew up, y'all, from the time I can remember. I would go to church with my grandmother at the Methodist church on Sunday and Sunday afternoon, and then I went to the Baptist church with my granddaddy on Wednesday nights. So I mean, I grew up in church. That's why I tell folks, I may be Episcopalian, but when I get out there and start campaigning and talking, y'all bring the Baptist out of me. I mean, we get louder, y'all get louder, and somebody's coming down for altar call. But it's always been a part of my life, and if it's not yours, it should be. I do not understand how it just doesn't compute in my brain how, if you don't have a relationship with God and you don't know Jesus Christ, how do you function throughout the day? Because every time I go to speak, you're going to take a moment. You should just to say a quick prayer. I say the same prayer every time. God, give me the wisdom to say what you want me to say, and please give me the courage to say it how it needs to be delivered. It's just simple. But I carry that throughout the day. My preacher's got a good saying. He always says, I don't do long prayers, but I don't go long without praying. And so it's just those type of things that you build into your body and you build into your life, and it just works. It works in so many different, and like I say, in mysterious ways. Let's take just the Laken Riley Act and as an example. Young lady that all she wanted to do was save lives, and it was God's will that she had a higher purpose, and that purpose was to go to heaven, but the purpose was to help save lives to the history from now on. Through making sure that no other family has to go through that. And that's all her parents were asking me when I asked could we put her name on this, was if it'll help save lives so that there's a possibility another family has to go through this, then we'd be honored and please do that. And it does that. But it does one other thing, and that's when people look at it and they say Laken Riley Act, they know that. I don't go anywhere that somebody doesn't say Laken Riley Act, my child went to Georgia, my child jogs, I've got a daughter. It doesn't matter. But when people look and they look at, well, who is Laken? And then you look at this beautiful young Christian girl. And then that folds over into a totally separate avenue for people that don't know and have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. They can do that through, just like our sister said, that she really embraced her religion and her faith, and that's something I didn't know at first, but I learned that, and so it's got a dual purpose, a dual role out there, and it's just it's amazing how God works in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you talked about how you don't understand how people could live and lead without God behind them, and I think that when
all right, so you guys, I am going to take a step in here because I'm looking at our live chats. You guys are asking questions, adding some comments in, and I feel like we need a little bit of context about why we are here, why we're listening into what's happening now, and who Laken Riley is. Maybe that'll help a little bit. One of the questions that I've gotten quite a few times, people have been asking, am I making this up? Am I wrong? Or did the family ask for this not to happen? And by this, they mean politicizing of Laken Riley's name. So let's take a step back here. You may remember the name Laken Riley. She was the young Augusta nursing student. She was running on the campus of UGA, just going for a jog, when authorities say that Jose Ibarra, an illegal immigrant from Venezuela, attacked and killed her. And so from there, yes, her name sparked outrage across the country. More people looking into this, suggesting that this is a bigger debate over U.S. immigration and policies and politics. And remember that this all happened right around the time that we were talking about the presidential election and going into a lot of debates. And so the family, more specifically Laken Riley's father, has gone on record saying that he feared her death was being exploited, being used as a political wedge, and has been inciting for people to go out and, I guess you could say, even be racist, but more specifically, talking about how he didn't want her death to be used by politicians who knew nothing about her. He wanted to make sure that if people were going to say her name, were going to show up for her, that it was for her and for the family and not for any political gain. So I just wanted to be clear there that yes, her family, specifically her father, has gone on record saying that he did not want her name to be politicized. This all, of course, taking place during the November presidential election. So there's that much needed context that I think we needed there. Also, just about a month ago, we heard that Jose Ibarra, the convicted killer for Laken Riley, was going to be asking for a new trial. They actually entered a motion. He wanted a judge to hear some arguments about a month ago for him. Again, he's the Venezuelan man convicted in the killing of nursing student Laken Riley, whose photo you're seeing on your screen there. He was found guilty in November 2024 of her murder and a couple of other charges in relation to her death. She was only 22 years old when this happened. His attorneys argue that his rights were violated when the trial judge denied a delay so defense experts could review key DNA evidence and allowed contested cell phone data into evidence. So we have an article about that if you'd like to read more. But what we have been watching throughout the day is a big community gathering for Laken Riley. This is a memorial service that began as a 5K. According to our Kim Leffler, almost 500 people, so well over 400, but almost 500 people got out, hit the pavement running in order to show their support for the Laken Riley family. Tomorrow, I believe, will mark 2 years since she was found dead. So that is the latest that we have there on that. Again, I wanted to make sure we have that context so that you knew why we were listening into this, who these people are, and why someone like Representative Mike Collins, a politician, could be in the same room as the Laken Riley's family. So I hope that cleared some things up for you guys. Again, I saw that a couple of times in the live chat from a couple of different people. All right, when we come back, I want to let you listen in. We'll be chit-chatting with our reporter, Eli Jordan. He was out on the roadways. We know it's a really rainy, stormy day here in Atlanta, but coming up soon, we know that there's going to be a free community clinic. So if you need any health services, you will be able to get that done for free at a specific church. So we'll be touching base with him about where that's at, how long you have to get out there, and what you can get done when we come back. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. You know, February is Black History Month, and we have just lost a pillar of the community. More importantly, you may know him as one of the biggest leaders of the civil rights movement. His name is Reverend Jesse Jackson. Unfortunately, last week we heard from his family that he died at the age of 84. So, of course, again, towering figure of the civil rights movement. He was a Baptist minister. He was also a two-time Democratic presidential candidate. A lot of the lawmakers, the leaders that we have today, say that they felt so empowered and inspired because of his leadership. He kind of crawled so that they could walk, and eventually they'd be able to run. So now he grew to the grand position that he has now during the segregated South. He became one of America's best known civil rights activists since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he was actually there when Dr. King was killed at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. And shortly after that, he took things over, trying to make sure that the community stayed together, that we kept our eyes on the prize of making sure that we gained our rights. And for the most part, he did do that. So now Reverend Jackson's family says that he died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones. They didn't release his cause of death immediately, but we do know that he lived for more than a decade with progressive supranuclear palsy. It's a degenerative neurological disorder that affects movement and swallowing. He revealed back in 2017 that he had also been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and had received outpatient treatment in Chicago. Now, this past Wednesday, his family spoke in his honor, and I want to let you guys listen in because, yes, I could tell you so many different things about who he was, but I think what's more important is how his family viewed him and how they want you guys to remember him. Let's listen in.
What a blessing it is to be here today. My mind, Santino. As Reverend Jackson, who we called leadership, we called Reverend, but he wouldn't listen to me when I'd call him Reverend. He demanded that I call him Daddy. My mind. Because he said, I am that. Black men take a real knock for not being involved fathers, although the CDC showed us that black men are the most involved fathers in America. More involved than white fathers, Hispanic fathers, and our father took fatherhood very seriously. He took that charge. It was his charge to keep. And so today we celebrate his life, although his body is absent from us. His spirit suffuses and infuses us, and it charges us to continue with the work. Indeed, he has run his race. Let me just say this. He is a seminarian. I've seen him referred to as Jesse Jackson, Jesse Jetstream. Remember Mike Royko? Yes. But you must remember that he was first a seminarian. He turned down an opportunity to be a law student at Duke University Law School. And he came here and became a seminarian. And Dr. King saw something special in him because he was organizing with Reverend James Bevel. And he said, I see something special in you. So a semester before he got his master's in divinity, which he ultimately finished, he went on to work for Dr. King. So he had a godly calling, but he had an assignment from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, which he never wavered from throughout his life. There is no one who's been more faithful to the mission of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King than Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. And so it is today, while we have heavy hearts, we have buoyant spirits, because we do know where our Father is. We do know that he took one deep breath and leapt into the arms of Jesus, who carried him to the throne of God, to the grace. There is no more, yes sir, boss, there is no more shaming. There is no more blaming. There is no one looking down on him anymore. There is no one who has, the criticisms don't matter now. Because now he is with God. I can see Dr. King welcoming him in and saying, son, I told you were going to do it. I can see Reverend Bevel. I can see Hosea Williams. I can see my mama Tibby, my great-grandmama Tibby. I can see Grandma Helen. I can see my grandmother Gertrude. I can see Noah Robinson, his father. I can see his stepfather, Charles Henry Jackson. I can see so many people. I can see Mabel. I can see Major. I can see the Moore family. I can see so many people who are saying, you kept that charge. You were faithful servant. Well done. May he rest in peace, but may his spirit live forever, and let us continue the work, everyone. That is what he would want us to do. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so you were listening in to Santita Jackson. She is the eldest daughter of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I do want to tell you, when they spoke out in Chicago, the family says the reason that they were able to, speak, a lot of them without crying, is because of people like you and I who are choosing to remember Reverend Jesse Jackson positively, that made them believe that it was okay to come out and speak more about his life and his legacy. That is why they felt so comfortable. And that really stuck with me when I heard them say that towards the end of their remarks. All right, so now the family has revealed funeral plans just in case you would like to come out and pay your respects. They are open to the public, but I do need to let you know many of them will be happening in Chicago and in DC and even in South Carolina, where Reverend Jesse Jackson was born. We know that there's going to be a couple of memorial services, and then he's also supposed to lie in repose next week at the Chicago headquarters of his Rainbow Push Coalition, with a public celebration of life and some homegoing services to follow. Dates for all of the Chicago events have been changed, so I'll be able to get you the latest ones soon, but we know some formal services have been added. They're all scheduled between March 1st and March 4th in Washington, D.C. and South Carolina. The Rainbow Push Coalition did not release any further details, so that's all that I have there on that. But I can tell you, out in Chicago, there's supposed to be a public celebration of life held at House of Hope. This is a 10,000-seat church, so a lot of you can come out. It's open to the public. It's happening on March 6th, and there should be a private homegoing service the next day at the Rainbow Push. That will be live streamed, so even though you're not available or able to come inside of the coalition, you will be able to watch it live on live stream. All right, and last but not least, I need to let you know that there was a request put in from Reverend Jesse Jackson's family to have him lie in the rotunda. This is kind of like lying in state. A lot of our presidential figures do so when they have died. Most recently, we saw President Jimmy Carter lie in repose in the rotunda. He was lying in state. But while speaking about his death, we did hear that House Speaker Mike Johnson said that he received a request from the family to have his remains lie in honor at the Capitol, but that request has since been denied. The reason for it, they say that the precedent has been that the space is typically reserved for former presidents, the military, and select officials. Of course, none of which would be what Reverend Jesse Jackson is perceived as, even though he did run for president twice. They say because he wasn't an actual president, that this would kind of ruin the legacy, the precedent that they have set up so far. And we know that there's been some political divisions here in our country. There have also been a lot of flare-ups lately, especially over who is allowed to be memorialized in a space like the Rotunda, like at the state capitol. But during such services, the public, as we know, if you've never gotten to watch one of these things happen with a president, like I did say, most recently we got to see President Jimmy Carter lie in the rotunda for a couple of days. What happens is that area is open up to the public. Anybody can come in, walk around, pay their respects, they'll view the casket. You may also get to see family and friends. Literally anybody can walk in. So you might be among some other politicians, some other celebrities who are paying their respects at the same time. It's not necessarily a private service. But again, it is interesting to see that they did decide to deny that request. But it's not just for Reverend Jesse Jackson. We also know that there was a request recently made to honor Charlie Kirk there. That request was also denied. So again, I just wanted to be a little fair about who we're seeing getting allowed to lie there and who we're seeing getting denied. All right, when we come back, I want to bring you out to Atlanta. Of course, it is really stormy weather out here, but what's pretty cool is there's a free community health clinic opening up at a local church. So I'll be able to talk to you all about it with our Eli Jordan when we come back.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us here at Fox 5 News Live. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Have a lot of stories to get to this morning, but first, let's go ahead and talk about weather. It's been a rainy day in the Atlanta area, and I'm just ready for it to go away. Hey there, Alex.
Rain for a lot of us and storms for others, and it really has been an interesting tale of two stories across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. We're looking live at Echo Park Speedway, where we've got a big race tomorrow, right? The 400 is happening down there. It's the Old Atlanta Motor Speedway. It has rained heavily. You can very clearly see that here in the parking lot, and we were just looking at quite the lightning show as well. So before I get to the radar, I want to show you this. This is going to be really defining the afternoon. And take a look at this temperature gradient we have now. It's 74 in Macon, and it's 54 in Griffin. That's only about 30 miles. It's 62 there in Forsyth there in between. It's anywhere you're in the 60s and 70s that we're going to be looking for the possibility of severe weather today, a low-end possibility. So right now, that still includes Upson County, where we have some showers and storms moving in here in the next little bit. Now, let me flip this over into the radar mode and show you what's going on. This is what was just over Echo Park Speedway. That sits right about there. It's in that little notch of Henry County, right where Clayton County just about comes to an end, and before you get to Paulding County. So heavy rain now from Locust Grove and really the Tanger outlets down through Griffin and in towards Thomaston. It would be from this point southward that I'm watching for some stronger storms. Yes, you're getting some lightning up in here in Henry County, but I'm not looking for severe weather. The ingredients simply are not there. You can't bake a cake if you don't have all the ingredients sitting on the counter. Exact same scenario here. So it's from Thomaston down where we have the ingredients. There's nothing jumping out at me at the moment. And in terms of our television station and what we're responsible for, Upson County really is the last county that we cover, at least in terms of TV coverage area. Of course, I'll be watching if it goes down into Talbot and Taylor counties, but I just need this to slide through Thomaston, and we at Fox 5 at least will be in the clear, and that shifts into more of a Macon television type of thing, even though we're streaming, right? So that's the lay of the land right now, at least in terms of the radar. Take a look back up into Metro Atlanta. We do still have a pocket of some heavy rain. This is going to be just northeast of the airport on 285 as soon as you cross into DeKalb County, right near Boulder Crest, basically in that area. And then some moderate rainfall spreading back over into Walton County and into the Athens area. That's where we were just talking with Kim a few minutes ago and where Representative Collins was speaking. So here we go today, 66. I think that's going to about do it for us. We might have already hit that. Showers and storms, 60% chance of rain. Going to get that to slide down to the south. Then for tomorrow, forecasting to get to 50. We will see, all right? So it's going to be cooler tomorrow. It's also going to be windy, which means no matter what it is, take 10, 15 degrees off to get your wind chill for tomorrow. Here's our severe weather outlook today. You're going to see that this lines up with that temperature map I just showed you. Basically Upson County and southward. That does not include Metro Atlanta. So here's how it shapes up. You see that line sliding down to the south now. By the noon hour, I expect that to be out of here. It's going to be in Macon and point southward, and then we will be clearing out by the time we get into the overnight hours. Rain-wise, clouds will be sticking around. Might see a few sprinkles, but those will be few and far between. Waking up tomorrow morning in the 30s briefly before we only get into the mid to upper 40s really for the afternoon, maybe touching 50. And then watch up here. See a little white? Yeah. Flurries possible Sunday night. Happy winter. All right. If you see some, send us a picture. I'll be curious to see. Now, this is the hour by hour. These are your temperatures. Notice you get down to 19 Monday morning, 26 in Atlanta, 24 in Canton. Let's take a look at the wind chills. Gusts upwards of 25 to 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour. This is tomorrow morning. We broke a record high temperature yesterday at 80 degrees, and it's going to feel like 19 in Blairsville for Sunday morning. 26 in Atlanta, 23 in Canton, 26 in Gainesville, 33 in Athens, and 31 over in Covington. So there's your flurries possible. Again, that's going to be late Sunday into Monday. Monday morning is also going to be bitterly cold with wind chills likely in the single digits. 42, your high temperature there, 52 on Tuesday. Jasmine will be back in the 60s by the time we get towards Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
All right, Alex, thank you for that weather update there. Moving now to a new story developing this morning. We've learned that former Olympian Jeff Galloway is in the hospital right now. Family members did post on his social media account that he had emergency neurosurgery and is now being cared for in the ICU. Over decades, millions of runners and walkers have read his books, attended his running school, and joined his training process. Family members are asking you to support, and you can do that by sending a video message message to www.tribute.co/Jeff-Galloway, and that's www.tribute.co/Jeff-Galloway. Again, we'll put that on our website as soon as possible for you, but he is in the hospital right now, according to his family. Moving now to another story that we've been following for some time now. Tomorrow marks 2 years since Augusta University nursing student Laken Riley was killed on a run near the University of Georgia. Officials say her killer, Jose Ibarra, entered the country illegally and was convicted of all counts against him, including malice murder. Family and friends are gathering today to honor her life. The Run for Your Life 5K was held this morning along with a memorial, and right now I believe a worship service is happening. Fox 5's Kim Leffler is there, and she has a look at the service in Athens.
Hey, good morning. Yes, the pastor just finished up speaking, and there is some worshiping beginning at this hour. But in that memorial service, we heard from Laken Riley's younger sister, who said that she was her best friend, and it's been incredibly hard not having her in her life. And also from Mike Collins. He is the U.S. representative that introduced the Laken Riley Act shortly after Laken's death. Now, we do have some video of the 5K from earlier this morning. Now, Laken Riley was out for a run on February 22nd of 2024 near Lake Herrick here on the UGA campus, where her convicted killer, Jose Ibarra, attacked her and killed her while she was out for her morning run. He went to trial just a couple of months later, and he was found guilty on all charges against him, as you mentioned, including malice murder. Now, officials did say that he entered the country illegally from Venezuela, and that really had sparked some national attention with Laken Riley's story. Again, Representative Mike Collins introduced the Laken Riley Act, which does require illegal immigrants who have been convicted of crimes to remain behind bars and have the ability to call ICE, because it was found that Jose Ibarra had prior convictions, before everything that, before rather he killed Laken Riley, and that was a big concern that many people had, that he had those prior convictions. Now, people that I've been talking to today, there were 588 runners signed up for the race this morning. They all had different reasons for coming out, but everyone just wanted to make sure Laken's memory stayed alive. Take a listen.
I don't want anyone to ever forget who Laken Riley is. Athens is a special place to me. I grew up coming here, and now that this has happened, I have had many students reach out to me, women too, that are friends of mine, and we all do not go on that trail anymore. We don't feel comfortable running in general, and now I would like for us to basically remember her and know what she went through.
Just as a young girl, I was assaulted by a stranger, and I was able to get away. And what breaks my heart is this kind of thing even happens, this horrible tragedy, but Laken should be here. And I just want to do what I can to support and honor her. My son was a student here at the time.
And again, that memorial service still going on at this hour, kind of getting towards the tail end of it now. And the rain certainly had, I believe, deterred some people. We didn't see quite as many people out at the memorial service compared to who were out at the run a little bit earlier today, but definitely still several dozen people that are out here along with Laken's family, remembering her one day before the 2-year anniversary of her death.
All right, Kim, thank you for covering this story and sharing a little bit of the backstory of Laken Riley and the event happening there. I'll let you get back to your reporting. Moving now to a cold case I wanted to tell you about. This final ruling in Heather Turner's cold case, it was more than 8 years old, and it's finally come to an end. Now, the cold case, again, more than 8 years old. The Paulding County Sheriff's Office ruled her death a suicide, and that is Heather Turner. This is following years of speculation that she may have been the victim of foul play. Sheriff Ashley Henson said he is now putting to rest any remaining questions about the case, and I want to go ahead and let you listen to what he had to say about the ruling.
Heather's DNA was recovered and identified on the trigger guard. It was the only DNA recovered off the gun. Heather Turner's hands tested positive for gunshot residue. The results of Andy's test, the GSR test, was negative. The travel pattern of the bullet, the close contact are both consistent with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Again, that is the Heather Turner cold case there. Let's talk a little bit more about the case. So Sheriff Henson is saying a lot of rumors circulated on air and online surrounding her death. He said investigators have combed the scene, pored over records, and interviewed witnesses, and they all add up to the conclusion that her death, her tragic death, was a suicide. A little bit of the backstory: on May 4th in 2017, her husband, Andy Turner, found her inside their home in Paulding County with a gunshot wound to the head. The sheriff's office said the coroner back then ruled her death a suicide, and investigators said she left a handwritten note. The GBI subsequently called the circumstances around her death questionable and the cause undetermined. And then speculation and rumors followed on air and online of missing evidence, spousal abuse, and murder. However, again, the sheriff is saying that, her death is ruled a suicide. That is, it's ruled a suicide. And the case is closed. He invited her family to come speak with him in person, but they declined. A representative for Heather Turner's family said there is no false information on the Justice for Heather Turner Facebook page. Something else I want to let you know before, we conclude this story. If you know someone or if you are struggling or in a mental health crisis, help is available. Call or text 988 or chat at 988lifeline.org. Your time is 11:13. We're going to get to break for a 2-minute break, that is, and we're going to follow the Nancy Guthrie case and hear the latest on that. Welcome back. Nancy Guthrie has now officially been missing for more than 3 weeks, but investigators are not letting this case get cold. They're pursuing numerous leads to track down the suspect, and they say the continued support from across the country is critical to solving this case. Fox's Rebecca Castor is live in Tucson, Arizona. She has the latest on the investigation. Good morning, Rebecca.
Jasmine, good morning. For those of us outside this investigation, it can feel hard not to be discouraged this far into it. I mean, it's been 21 days since Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home behind me and still no suspect identified. But as you mentioned, the community is still finding ways to support this investigation. One of those ways is neighbors here. They've been asked to comb through weeks worth of security footage and submit everything to law enforcement. So we know that is happening, and they're also providing emotional support to the family as well. It's been moving to see just how many flowers have been delivered here to Nancy Guthrie's home. The yellow flowers, it's become a symbol of hope and optimism, so they're doing that. And I also want to mention the reward for information as well. It has increased to over $200,000, and this is from rewards being put up by the FBI as well as the local community program here. And much of this amount, it was boosted significantly by a large donation from a lawyer in Milwaukee. He wanted it to be raised because he felt like if the person with the right information saw these dollar signs, they might finally have the information and feel compelled to come forward. So just another example of how people all across this country are supporting this investigation.
Rebecca, thank you. And, you know, question for you this morning, the latest here, what's happening with the DNA? I know that they were analyzing the DNA this past week. Do you have any updates there?
Yeah, so that is a process that is still ongoing. We've been told, they're doing that genetic genealogy testing. They are hoping that will be a breakthrough. We've talked to numerous experts on this subject. Some tell us that, hey, family trees, if you have the right DNA, they could be built in a matter of days if somebody that was related to this suspect decided to do a DNA test through a public database. But if, that's not the case, then they have to try to work with these private companies. That's a little bit of a longer process. It oftentimes requires law enforcement to get a warrant. That takes time. So time, unfortunately, is not, what this family wants to hear. It's certainly not a positive thing that this has dragged on this long. But as you mentioned off the top there, no investigator we have spoken to wants this case to go cold, and they're going to stay on this as long as there is still something to pursue.
Thank you, Rebecca. And one more question before you go. Law enforcement experts are urging Savannah Guthrie to release another video. Can you share why this is important?
Yeah, we've started to hear law enforcement sources start suggesting that, of course, with the celebrity factor, there has been a lot of eyeballs on this case, but we're starting to get fewer and fewer newsworthy updates from the sheriff's office and the FBI. So, frankly, that's going to keep it harder, make it harder to keep this in the news cycle. So those family videos can definitely help with that aspect of it. Another aspect that they think could help is, the right video could put pressure on a suspect. And when a victim, or when a suspect, I should say, is under pressure, that is when people start making mistakes. And all it could take is one misstep that could lead investigators to the potential kidnappers.
Rebecca, thank you. Those are all my questions I have for you. Again, thank you for coming in and sharing the updates that you have on the Nancy Guthrie search. We're going to take you now to the Colin Gray trial this morning. So testimony is set to resume on Monday in this trial. Colin Gray is the father of Colt Gray. Colt Gray is the accused Apalachee High School shooter. Now, we do know that Colin Gray is facing nearly 30 felony charges there. Prosecutors introduced several pieces of chilling evidence during Friday's testimony in this trial. Now, this trial went on for this past week, Monday through Friday. And so, again, Gray is facing 29 felony counts. Prosecutors say Gray purchased, or they allege that Gray purchased the murder weapon as a Christmas gift in 2023, despite his son Colt's troubled history. So that history reportedly included drawing Nazi symbols and searching online for phrases like, quote, how to kill your dad. The state argues Gray is criminally responsible because he provided his son access to the rifle despite knowing severe behavioral red flags and a potential for violence. Gray's defense attorneys maintain he could not have foreseen the tragedy and that the legal responsibility lies solely with the shooter. Now, what we know here about, or what they're saying about the search of Gray's home. Testimony from GBI Special Agent Heather Lashley. She was tasked with processing the Gray residence on the day of the shooting. Lashley's testimony provided the jury with a first-hand look at the household through crime scene photographs, and that's what you're seeing on your screen there. And so this is what was discovered in the home: tactical gear and weapons. Investigators found tactical-style vests, multiple rifles, and boxes of ammunition. They found unopened safety equipment, photographs showing gun locks in the home that appeared to be unopened and unused, and then they found a shrine to violence. So Lashley testified to finding a wall in Colt Gray's bedroom dedicated to Nicholas Cruz, and now he's the perpetrator of the 2018 Parkland, Florida shooting. Lashley noted the presence of multiple calibers of ammunition and a shotgun, though she could not confirm if the specific rifle found atop of a closet matched the calibers used at the high school shooting at Apalachee High School, that is. Let's take a listen to her testimony.
So you go to 110. All right, and what do we see here?
Some additional shooting targets that were located in that closet, and you can see some are unused, but some are used.
Okay, and the next one, 111.
This is a close-up of a target that had already been used.
Okay, and we'll go to the next one, 112.
These were 2 additional targets that were used that were located in that closet.
Okay, and we'll go next, 113.
This is a photograph of a shotgun shell as well as another gun lock that were located in the bottom of that closet.
Okay, and 114.
This is a close-up photo of just the gun lock.
Okay. And so I'll go ahead and so you've got that bag in front of you. It's labeled, I believe it's 151 and 153. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And what are the contents of that bag?
This is the box for the red dot sight as well as the gun lock that is on the screen right now.
All right. Does it appear to be in substantially the same condition as when you took them into evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Judge, we would tender State's Exhibits 151 and 153.
No, Judge. 151 and 153 are admitted.
All right. And if you can just hold up the site mark box for the jury. I won't have you open the box or anything. All right, and then moving on to 153. If you can hold up that gun lock. All right, and the other gun lock that was recovered from the house was in kind of a Ziploc bag. Is this one in a bag that has not been completely opened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you feel comfortable saying, does it appear that is an unused condition?
Yes, ma'am. There's a rip in the bag, but it's not nearly large enough that the gun lock could be removed without tearing the rest of the plastic.
Okay. And I'm going to circle back. I'm numbering a little out of order. So this is 152. And I think this has kind of a combination of things in that bag. Can you identify what that bag is?
This bag contains 1 shotgun shell found in the subject's closet, evidence marker 15, and evidence marker 22.
Okay. And those appear to be in substantially the same condition as when you took them into evidence.
Yes, they do.
All right, Judge, we would tender State's Exhibit 152. All right, and I think you have you have a couple individual bags within there. Can you just tell us what each of those are?
Yes, ma'am. So each of the items that I just read off are packaged individually within their own coin envelope, and each coin envelope is then in this bag.
Okay. So will you just identify each one really quick?
Yes, ma'am. So each of these envelopes contain a shotgun shell. One was recovered from evidence marker 15, and one was recovered from Colt's closet. Each of these items are the 2 items that were previously observed in the swim goggles. One is the cartridge, and one is the bore sight.
Okay, so, and just order-wise, because I bounced around a little bit, so the bore sight, a couple of the shells were from Colin's room, and then another shell was from Colt's room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and just to kind of clear up something that the jury may notice. Was there a bed in the room that we're referring to as Colt's room?
Was there a bed?
Yes.
I'm sorry. No, there was not.
And what is your understanding of where Colt would actually sleep?
It was my understanding that Colt was sleeping in the laundry room that also was serving as a bedroom.
Okay. And at this point, we can go on to the next slide. So this is State's Exhibit 145.96. We're just going to kind of use this for reference. Tell me about what we're looking at here.
We are looking at the west wall in Colt's room. You can see the same desk that we discussed earlier, as well as a series of photographs and articles that were affixed to his wall.
Okay. Okay, and we're going to pull up the next picture, 145.115.
I'm sorry.
And what is that showing right there?
This is an overall of just the photographs and articles on the wall. I marked it as evidence marker 2.
Okay, and 116. I think there's 116. Okay. And what do we see here?
This is a close-up of some of the photographs that were lower down on the wall and difficult to see from farther away.
Okay. Okay. All right. And Judge Mr. Smith pointed out that I have a numbering error. So I tendered 145 through 114. There's 116 photos. So I would tender State's Exhibits 145.115 and 116 at this time. They were previously reviewed and discussed with defense counsel. I just had that number wrong.
So 145, 115, and 145, 116?
Yes, sir. I just, in my aggregate numbering, left those out.
The same objection that we made earlier. All right, so overruling the objection, 145, 115, and 116.
Thank you. All right, so I want to talk about, let me go back to I want to talk about what we're looking at here. Did you collect these photos and news articles on the wall into evidence?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And were those affixed directly to the wall?
Yes, ma'am. They were affixed to the wall using push pins.
Okay. And in preparation for your testimony, did you use those, what was collected into evidence, the originals that were collected into evidence, and reassemble them on what's been marked as State's Exhibit 154?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you do that on a poster board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just kind of in place of a wall?
Yes.
Okay. And did you use your crime scene photographs as reference to make sure that the way you affixed it was as close as possible to exactly how it was affixed in size and order on that wall?
Yes, I did.
All right, and Judge, at this time, have you reviewed today State's 154 to make sure it's in the same condition as when you assembled that?
Yes, I have.
We attend State's Exhibit 154.
We would object, Judge, under the duplicious aspect of photographs. All right, and as I understand it, these are what was actually removed from the wall?
Yes, sir, Judge. We're tendering the original shrine into evidence, reconstructed on the poster board, as obviously we couldn't take the whole wall.
All right, so the photographs, 154, it's admitted over objection.
So I'm going to bring this over and display it for the jury, and then we're going to talk about what we are looking at. So, Special Agent Lashley, can you start by telling me the approximate size of this shrine?
The approximate height of it was approximately 4 feet 4 inches.
Okay. And let's talk about what we're looking at. Are you familiar with, are all the photos in this all of the same person?
They appear to be, yes.
And are all the news articles here related to that same person?
Yes, ma'am.
Specifically, I'm looking at a photo kind of down on the bottom right corner, and you can see it in the photo in front of you as well. That tactical vest that this individual is wearing, is that a similar vest to the one that you recovered from the laundry room?
Yes, ma'am. Obviously, the color is different, but the style is generally the same.
Okay. And who is this individual?
This individual is Nicholas Cruz.
And what is the significance of Nicholas Cruz?
Nicholas Cruz perpetrated a mass shooting event at Parkland High School in Florida on February 14th of 2018. During that incident, there were 17 people killed, including teachers and students.
Okay. And were there also several injured as well?
Yes, sir.
In collecting the evidence, did you review that are all these news articles related to that shooting?
Yes, they are.
At Parkland High School?
Correct.
And you testified, again, I know we saw the pictures, but in orienting to Colt's room, where was this shrine?
So if you were standing in the doorway of Colt's room, this shrine would have been on the wall across from the doorway. The doorway was on the east wall, this shrine was on the west wall.
Again, that is the Colin Gray trial, and they're talking about the shrine that this GBI special agent found in the home of the Grays. So his grandmother also testified in the trial here. Her name is Deborah Paulhamus, Colt Gray's grandmother, that is. She had previously been identified in court documents as someone who had raised concerns about her grandson's mental well-being and homicidal thoughts in the weeks leading up to the shooting. Her testimony highlighted the family's dynamics prior to the shooting, as well as the addiction struggles of Marcy Gray, who is Colt Gray's mother, and that is her daughter. So the grandmother testified that she tried to visit the Gray home at least once per month. She said that Colt had told her that his father had gifted him a gun for Christmas. And, you know, prosecutors also introduced text messages between the grandmother and the grandson in the days leading up to the Apalachee High School shooting. And Colt Gray wrote, "Make sure mama leaves my Zoloft, and if you don't leave it, things will turn really bad really quickly." And that is what they said Colt Gray said. And another message, Colt Gray told his grandmother he's likely suffering from acute mania as well. So what's next? So court is expected to resume, like I said earlier, on Monday with testimony from Marcy Gray. Again, Marcy Gray is the mother of Colt Gray. And so we're expecting to hear from her. And then also for Colt Gray, who's 16 years old now, he was 14 at the time of the shooting. He's being tried separately as an adult and is facing 55 counts, including malice murder. And he is currently undergoing a mental health evaluation before his trial date is finalized. Again, this is the trial for Colin Gray, his father, who's facing 29 charges in connection with this shooting. Let's follow another trial. Let's go to another trial here at the Tara Baker murder trial. So we now know how long Edric Faust will spend in prison. So Edric Faust is the convicted killer of the University of Georgia law student Tara Baker. He was sentenced this past week on actually Thursday, that is, to the Athens Clark County courtroom. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in prison, along with an additional 45 years in confinement. And on Tuesday, he was found guilty of 12 charges in the 2001 rape and murder of Baker. So, you know, what the courtroom is saying, the court heard emotional victim impact statements from Baker's family and Faust's family before sentencing was announced. Baker's mother feels like justice is served, while Faust's family members, they pleaded with the court, many reinforcing that he did not kill Baker despite the guilty convictions. And after the sentencing, family members who spoke to Fox 5 said they plan to appeal the case. So a little bit before we move on to the next story, a little bit of the backstory here. Baker was found dead in her burned apartment off Fawn Drive on January 19th in 2001, just one day before her 24th birthday. Faust was arrested in 2004, he was arrested in 2024, after retesting of DNA evidence using updated technology. So that is that case, the Tara Baker murder trial there. Again, Edric Faust sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in prison, along with an additional 45 years in confinement. Okay. Your time is 11:36. Let's go ahead and head to break. We'll be back with more news after the break. Welcome back, guys. We continue to remember Jesse Jackson, the civil rights activist and reverend. The cradle of the civil rights movement is mourning the loss of him. He died Tuesday in Chicago at the age of 84. Now, he was a towering figure of the civil rights movement. He was a Baptist minister and a 2-time Democratic presidential candidate. He rose from obscurity in the segregated South to become one of America's best-known civil rights activists since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So again, he died peacefully surrounded by loved ones, according to his family. A cause of death was not immediately released, but we do know that he had been living for more than a decade with progressive supranuclear palsy, PSP, a degenerative neurological disorder that affects movement and swallowing. He revealed in 2017 that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and had received outpatient treatment in Chicago. Now, this past week, his family spoke in his honor. Let's listen to what they had to say.
What a blessing it is to be here today.
My mind, Santino.
As Reverend Jackson, who we called leadership, we called Reverend, but he wouldn't listen to me when I'd call him Reverend. He demanded that I call him Daddy.
My mind.
Because he said, I am that. Black men take a real knock for not being involved fathers, although the CDC showed us that black men are the most involved fathers in America. More involved than white fathers, Hispanic fathers, and our father took fatherhood very seriously. He took that charge. It was his charge to keep. And so today we celebrate his life, although his body is absent from us. His spirit suffuses and infuses us, and it charges us to continue with the work. Indeed, he has run his race, Well, let me just say this. He is a seminarian. I've seen him referred to as Jesse Jackson, Jesse Jetstream. Remember Mike Royko? Yes. But you must remember that he was first a seminarian. He turned down an opportunity to be a law student at Duke University Law School. And he came here and became a seminarian. And Dr. King saw something special in him because he was organizing with Reverend James Bevel. And he said, I see something special in you. So a semester before he got his master's in divinity, which he ultimately finished, he went on to work for Dr. King. So he had a godly calling, but he had an assignment from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, which he never wavered from throughout his life. There is no one who's been more faithful to the mission of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King than Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. And so it is today, while we have heavy hearts, we have buoyant spirits, because we do know where our Father is. We do know that he took one deep breath and leapt into the arms of Jesus, who carried him to the throne of God, to the grace. There is no more, yes, sir, boss, there is no more shaming. There is no more blaming. There is no one looking down on him anymore. There is no one who has, the criticisms don't matter now. Because now he is with God. I can see Dr. King welcoming him in and saying, son, I told you were going to do it. I can see Reverend Bevel. I can see Hosea Williams. I can see my mama Tibby, my great-grandmama Tibby. I can see Grandma Helen. I can see my grandmother Gertrude. I can see Noah Robinson, his father. I can see his stepfather, Charles Henry Jackson. I can see so many people. I can see Mabel. I can see Major. I can see the Moore family. I can see so many people who are saying, you kept that charge. You were faithful servant. Well done. May he rest in peace, but may his spirit live forever, and let us continue the work, everyone. That is what he would want us to do. Amen. Amen.
So that was the daughter, the eldest daughter of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Memorial services honoring his life will be expanded beyond Chicago with events in Washington, D.C. and South Carolina. The late civil rights leader organization announced this on Thursday. So his organization mentioned that Jackson will still lie in repose next week at the Chicago headquarters of his Rainbow Push Coalition, with a public celebration of life and some homegoing services to follow, though the dates for Chicago events have been changed. Formal services were added, and they're scheduled from March 1st to March 4th in Washington, D.C. and South Carolina, where Jackson was born and raised. Jackson's adult children gathered outside the family home in Chicago on Wednesday, again saying the funeral services would be large gatherings where everyone would be welcomed, and they also vowed to continue his decades of advocacy. In Chicago, a public celebration of life will be held at the House of Hope, which is a 10,000-seat church, on March 6th. This is happening on the 6th, followed by private homegoing services the next day at Rainbow Push, which will be live streamed. Now, again, like I said, Jackson will lie in repose next week at Chicago headquarters of his Rainbow Push Coalition with a public celebration of life. The late Jackson will not lie in honor in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda after a request for the commemoration was denied by House Speaker Mike Johnson's office due to past precedent. And amid the country's political divisions, there have been flare-ups over who is memorialized at the Capitol, with a service to lie in state or honor in the Rotunda. During these events, the public is generally allowed to visit the Capitol and pay their respects. Recent requests had similarly been made and denied to honor Charlie Kirk, the slain conservative activist, and former Vice President Dick Cheney. Bringing it back home to the Atlanta area, let's talk about a shooting on Coleman Street. Atlanta police are investigating the fatal shooting of 21-year-old Travales Tolbert Jr. The Douglas County mother, his mother that is calling for justice now and just clinging to her faith, she says, after the murder of her 21-year-old son last weekend. So Atlanta police, again, are investigating Tolbert's death. He was gunned down inside a home on the 900 block of Coleman Street Southwest. While investigators have released very few details regarding the circumstances of the shooting, the mother, again, is speaking out, saying that she is in total disbelief. She also says she's just in shock with so many emotions that somebody would gun down her son. Let's take a listen to this sound from her.
I'm in total disbelief, and I'm still in shock with so many emotions at the fact that somebody would just gun down my son that was so full of life, that was sweet, nice, compassionate.
She also calls him the life of the party. She said he was bright, his energy was bright, and personality similar to hers. She says that she remains confident that the Atlanta Police Department will find the person responsible. And if you have any information regarding this case, just reach out to the Atlanta Police Department. Again, this is the Coleman Street shooting, and the victim here is 21-year-old Travales Tolbert Jr. Let's get into some headlines here this morning. So Atlanta mandates push-button doors now. Let's talk about what this means for businesses. So again, automatic door buttons are background noise for many people. It's a small detail you walk past without even noticing. And for others, that button is the difference between independence and being stuck outside. So this week, the Atlanta City Council approved a zoning amendment aimed at expanding accessibility, and most street-facing businesses' entrances will now be required to have push-button access with limited exemptions. So again, Atlanta now requiring the push-button access at most street-facing entrances to businesses. In a statement, Councilmember Kelsey Bond, she's from District 2, she called the ordinance an important step toward ensuring that as Atlanta grows, the city does in a way that expands accessibility for everyone. Disability advocates say the work isn't finished, and it sounds like they're wanting to see more, hopefully, in the near future. So what's next? The ordinance takes effect immediately. It's not quite clear just yet what the zoning code amendment means for existing buildings, and Fox 5 reached out to the Zoning Review Board for clarification, and we haven't heard back just yet. Let's go on into a SCOTUS tariff decision before we head to break here. So President Trump saying his tariff fight is far from over. He's pledging to use alternative legal routes as a Supreme Court decision demolished a major pillar of his economic and foreign policy. So Trump says he's going around the Supreme Court ruling and implementing a new 10% global tariff. So he says that he's very upset here about the decision from the Supreme Court. And this was a ruling that was made on Friday, and the Supreme Court struck down his sweeping reciprocal tariffs, which was a major blow to his signature trade policy. It was a 6-3 decision. The justices ruled that levying tariffs was the job of Congress, with Chief Justice John Roberts saying the framers, quote, did not vest any part of the taxing power in the executive branch. Despite the president's disappointment, stocks rallied after the news, with many, but not all, business owners expressing relief there. Trump says not every tariff is going away. The administration used a separate law to slap tariffs on steel and aluminum, cars, copper, and lumber. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who wrote the dissenting opinion, said the ruling might even require the U.S. to issue billions of dollars in tariff refunds to businesses, which is a process he acknowledged is likely to be a mess. Again, in this story, the Supreme Court struck down most of Trump's tariffs, and Trump says that he's going to fight back. Let's go ahead and head to break. We have some more stories on the other side of the break. welcome back, guys. It's time to celebrate good times today at Steamhouse Lounge. They're hosting their 38th annual Oyster Fest, and Fox 5's Caitlin Pratt is out there this morning, and I wish that I was out there with you. I absolutely love oysters.
Ooh, and I'll tell you what, Jasmine, it certainly smells wonderful. We had a little bit of a delay here. I'm in Atlanta's Midtown. I'm going to show you just the 360 here so you can get an idea of where we are. This is at 12th Street and Peachtree Street. And because of the rain, this annual festival, Oyster Fest, has now been delayed about an hour. You can see people just starting right now to make their way inside. This was supposed to begin at 11 o'clock this morning. Yeah, the weather wasn't cooperating with those plans at all, but still a lot of people here ready to go in. If you have plans, if you have tickets, just go ahead and bring your rain jacket just in case, because it's kind of spotty showers still right now. But let's talk about what you can expect. This is a 2-day event. So, hey, if you weren't able to make it out here this morning, don't worry. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is another opportunity to get all things oyster here. This is the 37th year this has been happening here in Midtown, sponsored by the Steamhouse Lounge. If you've never been, amazing seafood, especially my favorite is the lobster bisque. But each and every year they put on this Oyster Fest where you have fried oysters, raw oysters, all the oysters you could want. They even shuck them here on site, and you can get your own shucker too. And if you want to get into the act, your own pail of oysters too. And it's all for a good cause too, because it benefits this year Atlanta Leadership Project, which is a project for youth in our city who maybe don't have the same chances that a lot of other people do. So that will fund summer camps and leadership programs, things of the like for them. Another group benefiting from this, Shells to Shore, that's a group based out of Athens, and they recycle oyster shells. And finally, the Giving Kitchen, that's a big beneficiary as well. That helps service workers, restaurant workers who fall on hard times if they're laid off, things of that nature. So yeah, get your oyster on, and while you're at it, the proceeds from this are going to be helping out a whole lot of local groups for sure. So here are the details. Ticket pricing today will be $25, or I'm sorry, for the weekend $25. Sunday only $20, and the music has not started just yet. The stage all the way down here. But as I mentioned, the rain causing a little bit of a delay as far as the festivities go. So just keep that in mind. Designated parking across the street there at that parking deck, both today and tomorrow. So yeah, come on down. It's the official start of festival season. So we hope to see you here. I'm going to send it back to you in the studio, Jasmine.
All right, Caitlin, thank you for showing us how people are celebrating today. We're going to let you have fun and get to it so we can get to Eli, who is at a Vine City Health Clinic this morning. So he's there to tell us more about this health clinic. What's happening over there?
Hey, good morning, Jasmine. Yeah, I'm here at Beulah Baptist Church in Vine City, where they are doing a free health clinic, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. today. They do it every year, and it's really cool because, some people might not have time to get to their doctor, or might not even be able to afford it. But, what's better than to be able to come out on a Saturday to your church in your neighborhood and, get your blood pressure checked, get your, blood sugar checked, too, and all that sort of stuff. And it's real important because, if you don't let your diabetes run away, you're going to have some bad kidneys. But joining me right now is Pastor Winfred Rice. Pastor Rice, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you all for being here, partners of Fox 5. Welcome to Beulah Baptist Church. We are so excited to be doing the work of spiritual and social transformation. Today we have a free health clinic to the entire Metro Atlanta community, specifically for Vine City and English Avenue. We are offering free mobile mammograms, prostate screenings, dental screenings for children and for adults. Kidney specialists, foot specialists are here as our friend has already shared, Eli, we are also doing a number of services, blood glucose, blood pressure screenings. We are inviting the entire family to come out today. We are here until 1 o'clock, but friends, we will stay as long as we need to make sure that we are able to meet your needs. We are a church that's dedicated to meeting the needs of people, and so we're inviting everybody to come out today until 1 o'clock.
So, I mean, I'm amazed. You guys have free mammograms going on here.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty big deal. And also for the guys, you got the prostate screenings and things like that. Tell me, why is it important for your church to do this for your community?
Yeah. Importance. We are all about helping to meet the needs of people, and we want to make sure, because we are in a community that has a number of social challenges, we want to make sure that we can provide those services to those people. This is a community that is stricken by food desert complications, housing complications, literacy complications, and we want to provide free resources to people so people can come out today and get everything that they need to ensure that they are healthy and that they are whole. We are a ministry that wants to meet the needs of people, not just attending to their spirits and their souls, but attending to their physical bodies as well.
What kind of reaction have you got from people coming in and taking advantage of this situation?
We have about 100 people registered for this today, and we are excited because these people are thankful. They are underinsured or uninsured, and they are able to get all of the resources that they need. People have been telling us how much of a blessing this is. There's another health clinic taking place not too far from here at Friendship Baptist Church. Between the two churches, we are dedicated to making sure that people get all of the services that they need. So this is a phenomenal event, and we're grateful to our partners at Emory St. Joseph Hospital, but more specifically at Grady Hospital as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pastor Winfrey Rice of Beulah Baptist Church. Jasmine, that's what's going on out here. They are helping out, being part of the community, giving back to the community, providing a service for, the community neighbors and the other church, teaming up, making sure that their community can be as healthy as they can be. Jasmine?
All right, Eli, thank you. That's our Eli Jordan there at the Vine City Health Clinic that's happening today. We'll get back to him a little later in the 12 o'clock hour. For now, we're going to take a break and be right back.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray.
And I'm Jasmine Cornell. Glad to have you with us this morning or this afternoon, actually, at noon.
Absolutely, Jasmine. You did a great job running through some of the biggest things, all of what we needed to know during the 11 o'clock. Got some more things that I need to put on your radar right now. So I don't know if you're a NASCAR fan.
No, I know nothing about NASCAR, guys.
I am not either. But we did just get a big update. So, last weekend we had the Daytona 500. That was out in Florida. Well, this week we're supposed to have have the Echo Park Auto Trader 400. We just heard that due to weather, they would not have that qualifying race today, which is really big for fans. So then the big question is, well, if that's canceled, how do we know who's going to run and in what order for the race tomorrow? Well, they did already let us know they're going to focus on basically qualifying times. So last week's Daytona 500 champion Tyler Reddick is going to start us off. Then in second, we have three-time Cup Series champion Joey Logano. He'll join him on the front row. Again, he will be rolling off second. And then lining up for third, we have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And of course, defending Echo Park Speedway winner and hometown favorite Chase Elliott will start alongside Stenhouse Jr. on the outside of row 2. We are at this point in time still expecting the 2026 Auto Trader 400 official race to kick off tomorrow. If you guys want to watch it, that will be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, and then I know we also got a new update. I'm sorry. I'm used to talking to Alex Forbes, our meteorologist right now, but Jasmine, another update. You've probably told the people already, but former Olympian Jeff Galloway is in the hospital. We actually know he's in the ICU. They're asking, family members are asking for us to keep him in our thoughts and prayers, but they're also asking for us to uplift the family. So you may know him. He's a runner. He's known really all over the country, but especially all over the world. For the last couple of decades, millions of people, runners, walkers, they've read his books, they've attended his running school, joined in on his training processes. Well, again, those family members are also asking you, if you're a fan, to post a video. They've got a link. It's www.tribute.co/Jeff-Galloway. We're hoping to get that up on our website, but you can send a video message of support to him. I'm sure right now when he's in the hospital and, you know, he's just counting the minutes, the hours, he's really going to need those messages from people like you and I.
Absolutely, yeah. And you have one more story to tell us about.
Yes, we have been covering this 5K and the memorial for Laken Riley that's been out in Athens. I know you were talking to our Kim Loeffler. I'm not sure if anything has happened since I was last up here, but we heard from Representative Mike Collins. We also heard from Lauren Riley, who's Laken's little sister. But if you guys are just now hearing about this, she was the Augusta University nursing student who was killed while she was out on a jog on the University of Georgia's campus. And at the time, and we know now that there was a convicted killer in that case, Jose Ibarra. So he was an illegal immigrant, as we know. And now there is the Laken Riley Act that's supposed to go out to make sure that this never happens to another person here in Georgia, or really another family. They would hate for something like this to take place. So I'm looking at our schedule here, and we should have just wrapped up with a worship and also closing words. So that would have been the last thing that happened out there. Again, we had our Kim Loeffler reporting live for us out there. We also had a live camera on those ceremonies. So just wanted to make sure we were up to date on everything that's been happening since you got on the desk. And
absolutely. And that Laken Riley story, pretty big story there. I remember covering it when I lived in Augusta. So she's an Augusta University nursing student, but she was on the UGA campus. I think they have like some type of, Augusta University has like a facility or a location on the UGA campus or near it. So very important story here. Tomorrow marks 2 years.
Yes, it does.
Since she was killed. So the community is remembering her, and they did that today.
All right, well, you guys know, in other news, one of our biggest stories, we can clear this off, one of our biggest stories is, of course, the weather. Jasmine, your hair looks amazing.
Oh,
oh my gosh, she is not keeping up with the humidity very well. Not at all. Let's get out to our meteorologist, Alex Forbes, who's on standby. Alex, ooh, it is dark behind you.
So let me take you down I-75 here. This is where the storms are moving through over the next little bit. This is downtown Macon, and you've got a shelf cloud right here in the dark skies off in the distance. You can see the rain falling. This is looking off to the east, so we're looking up toward into Jones County. We'll come back to the shot maybe a couple of times as this continues continues to press into Macon. I can see it on my screen up here. So we were looking from here that way. So we were looking into some of the heavier stuff that's now getting into gray. Worth noting that this line has exited technically the Fox 5 viewing area, right? It's now exiting Upson County, but it's about to push through Macon, and that's about to be an interesting camera site here through the next 10 minutes or so as that continues to press down towards the south. Otherwise, steady rain continuing over at Echo Park Speedway, where we just had the cancellation today. Also looking from Meriwether County up into Henry County and in towards Morgan County and into the Athens area. No more severe weather threat for any of these spots. All of that is going to be basically where that line is and southward now through the remainder of the day. Technically, Thomaston is in it, but look, if you see a severe storm today in Thomaston, go buy a lottery ticket, because that's going to be the luck of the Irish, even though it's not St. Patrick's Day, right? There, that goes down to the south. Scattered showers for the remainder of the afternoon down south of I-20, and then we clear out into the evening tonight. In terms of rainfall, cloud cover not so much. Notice this, you get some scattered shower activity at times through the overnight hours, and then we begin to clear through the morning tomorrow. So we get down into the 30s, but it's going to feel a lot colder than that. Tomorrow afternoon we'll be close to 50, but bake in those 35, 40 mile an hour wind gusts, and it is going to feel much colder than that. And then watch this now. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, watch up here. Oh, some white. I think some flurries will be possible. That's going to be late Sunday into Monday in the highest elevations of northern Georgia, and that's it. No impact from that, any question about it. All right, here we go. Forecast wind, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, already gusty. 20, 27, 25, 29 miles an hour, and then that only intensifies through the afternoon. All right, look at this, 36, 34, 33, 29 miles an hour. That's 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So while temperatures are in the upper 40s, it's actually going to feel like the 30s. Tomorrow morning, waking up 27, your wind chill in Atlanta, 24 in Canton, 25 over in Ellijay, 20 in Blairsville, 36 in Hartwell. Then for tomorrow afternoon, this is the warmest it's going to feel. So while temperatures are in the upper 40s, borderline 50, it's going to feel like 31 in Canton, 20 in Blairsville, and then we get to Monday morning. No thank you. 2 degrees in Blairsville, 7 in Ellijay, 7 in Canton. Mind you, we set a record high temperature in Atlanta of 80 yesterday, and our wind chill for Monday morning is going to be 9. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is it for Monday afternoon, or Monday morning, that is. Monday afternoon is also going to be cold. Here's your flurry impact. It's going to be basically, or lack thereof, basically along the ridgeline and to the north, say Fannin County, Union County, Towns, and Rabun counties, and then that extends back up into North Carolina. Drought monitor, yeah, we're all still in a drought. All right, 60% chance of rain remainder of the day, and it's going to be an interesting forecast here. 42 Monday, 52 on Tuesday. Before we go, look at this. I can't control the camera, but if we could turn that up to the left, that's going to be an interesting sight to watch here in Macon for the next little while. This is that line moving in toward downtown Macon at this hour.
Alex, even though it's moving slowly, like if you use that crane as a guide, you can actually see just how quickly those clouds are rolling in. When I first started talking, it was only at the beginning of the crane.
Exactly. And look, if we sat on this for, I mean, I can see it right now, right? Just follow this line.
Yep.
It is coming in fast. I mean, give this. I mean, do you want to sit on this? Let's like 2 minutes, and it'll be halfway across the screen.
We have time.
Let's do it. I tell you what. While we do this, let me go punch that radar back up real quick so that we can look.
And I'm actually timing it too to see how long it takes it to get there to the middle. We wanted to stay on it live. There we go.
Yeah, I'll be back over there in just a second. Here we go. So we can toggle it back and forth. Let me see. Let's just do this right now. So for reference, oh look, Ansley's driving it. This is one of our former interns is driving the radar right now. She's down at WMAZ. This is their camera. Look at that. Wow. I got to take a screenshot of that.
Yeah. Alex, it's been less than 30 seconds and boom, the front end of that cloud just hit the roadway that you were talking about. Less than 30 seconds. You said 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, wow. and note that the camera turned, right? So
yes.
But yeah, that is a sight. Wow.
That is insane. Wow. All right. Well, thanks for walking us through our forecast. I mean, you guys out there, I don't know about you, I'm a little scared.
Not scared.
My hair, I'm scared.
Worth noting, this is not severe warned. So while it does look ominous, right, we're not looking for much out of it necessarily.
Yes. Well, that's good to know. Good to know. All right, Alex, thank you so much. Jasmine, I don't know if you ever have had any interest in acting or producing, directing. Okay, so you're already ready for your close-up, but some of you out there may still be looking for ways to get in front of the camera. After this break, I want to share with you, I talked to our Tess Hammock, that's our entertainment insider, a little bit about some opportunities that are available for you guys watching us right now. We'll check in with her when we come back.
All right.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I brought up our entertainment insider, Tess Hammock, to the desk. Hey, Tess. We always know you have opportunities for us so we can get booked, busy, stay in the business. What do you got for us today?
Well, we got a lot, and let's start off strong with Divorce Court. So we are in, I think, our 28th season of Divorce Court right now, which is crazy. This has lasted longer than some of those marriages. So we're here for it. They're casting audience members, any gender, any ethnicity, but you must be above the age of 18. Okay. And they're going to be filming February, so now through June 2026. So you've got a long time to be a part of this, but it's going to be filming right here in Atlanta. If you're interested in being an audience member, doing the oohs, the ooh, I could do that. I think you could. I think that'd be a really fun day. You can apply for this by going to hiltoncasting.com/divorcecourtaudience, and that's Hilton with a Y instead of an I. Love that one, but I have another one that's really, really good. Okay. Now, this one I was talking to the casting director about, and she said, we're really looking for those breakout stars with this one. So I'm really excited to bring this to you. A brand new feature film called Threshold. They are casting speaking roles. I was very excited about this one. They are casting HBCU students and influencers. Very cool. We all know what an influencer is, but if you don't know, it's someone who is famous on social media or who's trying to be. Any gender, ages 18 to 24, or look like you're 18 to 24. This one's going to be filming March 18th through April 6th right here in Atlanta. This is a paid opportunity as well. Your submission information for this is going to include your name, phone number, Instagram handle, current HBCU headshot, and your acting resume. You're going to send all of that to destinationcasting.submissions@gmail.com and put in your subject line, all caps, HBCU or influencer.
Okay, first of all, love it. Atlanta's the perfect place for it. We have so many HBCUs here, and you said it's paid.
It's paid.
Love to see it.
We love it. Yeah, and it's for speaking roles too, so amazing for your reel as well. Now, the third opportunity I have on camera is a brand new reality show from MTV. Haven't thought about them in a minute, right?
Yeah, wait a minute.
They're coming back. They've been cooking something up in the background. They're casting a few different people. Now, remember, this is a reality show, so you're not having to actually act for this, but they're casting gym goers with cars, Spa patrons with cars. I mean, listen, I can do that. Smoothie shop customers and stretch lab customers, patrons as well.
So you gotta look like you like to take care of everybody.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So smoothie, spa, gym, stretch lab. I love it. I love all of this. You must be between the ages of 20s and 40s. So I'm so sorry if you're 18. You know, you might be able to pass. But any gender, any ethnicity on this one, you're filming actually coming up really soon. I want you to go ahead and get in on this because you're filming on the 23rd of February or the 26th. So that's next week. Coming up very, very soon right here in Atlanta, so you don't have to travel too far for it. Your submission information, it must include all of this. So please listen up and get your notes app or a pen and paper ready. Your first and last name, your current phone number, your email address, height and weight, clothing sizes, and shoe sizes. Please don't lie. No need to lie on your shoe size.
No, you want to look good. Just tell them the truth.
Just tell them the truth. Current city and state you're located in, 2 recent pictures, and confirm which dates you are working, whether that's the 23rd or the 26th. And there's no wrong answer there. Just tell them what you're available for. You can email NashvilleExtras@gmail.com. Promise it's not Nashville. It is here. Put in your subject line, all caps, MTV New Season, and then specify the date and the role. Again, either gym goer, spa patron, smoothie shop customer, or stretch lab patron. Right there in your subject line.
Okay. So that makes me think they're just looking for some background people.
Yeah.
But either way, you get a little FaceTime.
And I know we're running a little bit short on time, so I want us to get to one of my favorite things, which is an acting class.
Take it away.
This one is brought to you by Drama Inc. And if you've been with us for any length of time, you know I love Drama Inc. It's where I got my starts, where I would recommend anyone to take acting classes for sure. I mean, there's some other great ones too, but this one I have a special place in my heart for. This one is called The Breakdown. Prepare, relax, and let go. You know how people say they got in that flow state? This is how you get into that flow state, especially for auditions. Because you know, have you ever done an audition and then you thought, well, I knew the words going in, and then I just totally forgot about it?
All of a sudden, your brain freezes.
And then you blank. Well, this is going to teach you a clear, concise process to quickly break down a text, screen, or script, a variety of memorization techniques, very important, and then your physical and mental relaxation techniques. This one's going to be Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. at Drama Inc., which is on 650 Hamilton Avenue Southeast, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. You can register for this by going to tinyurl.com/castingcallbreakdown.
This has been incredible. If you guys missed anything or you want to learn some more opportunities from her, she was just on Good Day Atlanta, so you can head to our website. We've got full details for you right there. Tess, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bringing you a live look outside Atlanta. It looks a little less ominous than it did over in, where was that, Macon, Georgia, that our meteorologist brought us out to? Well, you know, if you have plans today, rain may keep you inside, but for a lot of people we know at one particular health clinic out here in Georgia, they have no problem getting out to where they need to go to make sure that their health is up to tip-top shape.
Absolutely. It is an important cause, and it's free. Our Eli Jordan, you see him on the screen there. He's out there at this community health clinic. It is in the Atlanta area. What can you tell us about this event?
Hey, Eli.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm at Beulah Baptist Church, where they're having a free health clinic, and they got people coming out here from the neighborhood, Vine City, and they actually I wouldn't say teamed up, but there's another church in the neighborhood that they're working together and making sure that their community is going to be as healthy as they can be. And right now, I am with Beulah Baptist Church Pastor Winford Rice. Hey, Pastor, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for being here today, Eli.
So tell me, how excited are you with the turnout and what else going on here today?
We're extremely excited about the turnout. We've had 100 persons to register for our health clinic today, and we have a number of our own members who are medical practitioners who are also here serving. Sanyo Galloway has his own health insurance company called Premier Financial and Health Services Group. They are providing health insurance to people who may not have health insurance. Dr. Kristen Johnson and Dr. Candace Frazier work at John Quill Pediatrics and Orthodontics in Smyrna. They're members of our congregation, and they are here today as well. We are partnering with Grady and Emory St. Joseph to provide medical services, as well as using some of our own members to make sure that everybody in our community is as healthy as possible. Hepatitis C, blood pressure, blood glucose, and a number of dental services are being offered, as well as mobile mammograms in partner with Grady. Please, if you're in the area, English Avenue, Vine City, get here before 1 o'clock to make sure you get the services you need.
And that's a big deal. I mean, especially in the black community, if you got to stay on top of your diabetes, otherwise you're going to have kidney failure. You might have to, you might have a big infection on on a toe or something later on, and whatever. And also, too, black men have higher rates of prostate cancer, and you guys are screening for prostate cancer here, right?
Absolutely. We know that there are a number of health disparities that exist in black communities that disproportionately affect African American men and women. And so we want to help mitigate that by any means necessary. And again, this is free. So we have podiatrists here today who are also working on people getting their feet treated. We also have kidney specialists. We've had some educational resources provided today for persons who are uninsured or underinsured. To the point that you made, there are a number of challenges for African American communities, and we want to make sure that we can provide the services to keep people as healthy and whole as possible.
How long is this going to be going on today?
This is going to be going on to 1 o'clock, but we will stay as long as we need to make sure that we meet the needs of people.
And you've done this before, right?
We did this last year as a part of our Heart Health Awareness Sunday initiative. We did it last year and partnered with a number of community organizations. And so we decided to do it again because the turnout was so large and the impact was incredible. We want to maximize our ministry to make sure that we continue to do what's necessary.
No better way to serve the community than to provide a free health clinic, as Beulah Baptist Church has done here in Vine City. Pastor, thank you so much. And Jasmine, Judea, that's what's been going on out here. Great community effort for the neighbors here. And, you heard the pastor, get on out here if you got some time. They'll stick around. But, keep yourself healthy and, live life. And that's what...
Eli. All right, Eli.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, what did you want to say, Jasmine?
I was just going to say, thank you, Eli, for sharing information on that health clinic there. We have other stuff to talk about that's happening this weekend, so let's get into that. So, of course, we finally made it to Saturday. Yay, yay, yay. If you're looking for a creative way to get some exercise in, so you can go to the health clinic and then you can go get exercise.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
It sounds like a good plan, but listen to the name of this event, Cupid's Undie Run. That's happening this weekend. So
I'm sorry, what?
It's okay. And that is your Cupid's Undie Run. So it's the perfect weekend to put on a pair of panties. And listen, you will not get in trouble for this. Hey, there's people doing that. So you can strap on your sneakers and go for go for a run. It's for a good cause, guys. There's a dance party too. I hope not in the undies though. Hopefully,
no, they're gonna be in the undies.
Oh gosh. So the run starts off at noon, so it's already started. But you can register online. So that's the Cupid's Undie Run.
Girl, what in the world do people have going on?
I'm new to the Atlanta area. We don't have this from where I'm from. We do not have undie runs over in Augusta.
They keep their clothes on over in Augusta.
We do. So another event happening, Black Pride will be on full display at the Georgia World Congress Center this weekend as well. The Atlanta Black Expo is in town, and the annual expo features more than 300 exhibitors, workshops, food, fashion, interactive experiences, and 50 speakers. So it sounds like it'll be a great educational event to go to. So those are just a couple of things happening this weekend. I know where you won't see me in Judea.
Yeah, the second event definitely more up our speed. It's Black History Month.
It is Black History Month, so a nice get together there. All right, let's talk about some things that are being recalled. But first, let's get into Dr. Pepper, okay? So I'm not a Dr. Pepper person.
Ooh, I like Dr. Pepper.
You like Dr. Pepper? I can't get into it. But they have announced some new flavors, okay? So the doctor prescribes new drink flavors for 2026 and brings back some fan favorites. So the Keurig Dr. Pepper Company of Beverages says it's releasing those beloved tastes, up to 35 varieties across several brands. It's bringing back creamy coconut and creamy coconut zero sugar flavor starting in April. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I already don't like Dr. Pepper, but that creamy coconut does not sound good.
I actually don't like coconut myself.
Yeah. So Dr. Pepper Sidekick Cola A&W Root Beer Float and Root Beer Float Zero Sugar will also be available for a limited time in July. Other drinks expected to be rolled out during this year include a strawberry flavored Canada Dry, Mandarin Orange 7-Up, Blood Orange by Water, and multiple zero sugar Mott's apple juices. That is so. Snapple
they
also
keep the zero sugar. They can keep that.
They can keep the zero
Yeah,
sugar.
we need the sugar.
I mean, yeah, because I mean that I don't know, that apple juice may not taste as great with the zero sugar. Snapple salutes the nation's 250th birthday in March with 250. Let me say it how they have it here. 250 par TT. Okay, that's a lot in one sentence there, but it's adding in raspberry tea and lemonade flavors there. So. Yes, that is the new flavors there, the new drink flavors that you can expect to see on your screen this year. All right, now to some foods recalled. Trader Joe's chicken being recalled, their chicken fried rice, that is, for potential contamination. So the USDA reported this on Thursday. Make sure you check your freezer for this, or your fridge, wherever you keep it. Check to make sure that you don't have this product. If you do, definitely to return it back to Trader Joe's. Okay, so that is the chicken fried rice being recalled, and then some baby food is being recalled as well. Okay. The US FDA is saying that this baby food on your screen is being recalled. It's Tippy Toes apple pear banana fruit puree, and they mentioned this on Friday, so yesterday, and they're recalling this, saying that some of the products have elevated levels of toxins. So you want to keep that in mind before you give that to your child. No illnesses or injuries that have been reported in connection to the recalled product, but you are urged to either throw it away or take it back to wherever you purchased it and get yourself a refund. So those are just a couple of recalled products, and some events happening this weekend along with Dr. Pepper flavors.
Y'all couldn't see my face during the Cupid run, but I was like, what? You brought us some good stuff. Jasmine, also, it's been really fun co-hosting with you.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in getting some more of your news, tomorrow we'll be back at this again live. Make sure you are here with us 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. But don't go anywhere, because we have more content coming up for you now on Fox Local.
Absolutely.